time is this?
Tonight, the revolution begins. I'm expecting a fight, hoping for a war. We are the Bullet Club. I am the greatest living professional wrestler alive. One by one, they will all follow me. Bada boom. Realest guys in our room. How you know? Feed me more.
Would you like to fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32?
If I was going to fight Brock Lesnar, I'd beat his ass. And you know that as well as I do, Paul. You sit there with that little grin on your face. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to, but I think you know how this is going to go down.
Now, where better than to have the Rattlesnake against the Beast, but in Texas with 100,000 people?
You know, obviously that'd be a great place to settle a score. And, here's the thing, I'd have to think about it, but I think the person who'd really have to think about it would be Brock Lesnar. Because I don't think that he'd want to take all the momentum, all the good stuff that you guys have done, and then to roll into 105,000 people to Texas Stadium, AT&T, Cowboy Stadium, whatever you call it,
we should
and
call
get
him.
his ass smoked.
Why don't we call him?
Call him.
I'm gonna.
Hell, I got his phone number too. I'll call him.
And of course, I had to have my phone. And look, just so you guys could see, my phone was off because people
all you got to do is
call
turn
me.
the damn silencer off.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Deezer.
How did Gary know? That's how Gary and I are probably feeling right now. And fall 2, running on empty, but we're doing this Wrestling to the Max episode 146. What are we doing today, Gary?
We are going to talk everything that has just happened. That's right, guys. It is a Thursday night, not a Tuesday night. And, of course, the reason we're doing it is because all the shows except Raw happened Wednesday night. So we wanted to give everybody hot and fresh wrestling reviews. So that's exactly why we've changed nights. Of course, you noticed because you're not listening to us on a Wednesday. You're listening to us most likely, if not live, on Thursday night, Friday morning. You're listening to us Friday or Saturday. So we're glad to have you with us. And we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw, everything that happened. And, of course, we're going to be talking about an all-important Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast that had all sorts of little nuggets that we can't wait to talk about. Some interesting things. And, man, a possible WrestleMania match that may, I don't want to say it because it may not happen if I say it, but it could possibly happen. We'll leave that to that conversation. Plus, guys, we're going to be talking about those hot and fresh reviews of NXT, TNA, Lucha Underground, and, of course, ROH that just moved to Wednesday nights as well. So lots of cool stuff to talk about. Plus, of course, we got a bunch of big news topics. I mean, there's a lot this week, a lot more than I ever expected. But, of course, we haven't been on in like 10 days, except for our big show we did on Sunday night of last week when we talked Elimination Chamber. We covered a little news there, but not everything. We really covered Elimination Chamber and some other big topics. So if you guys did not get a chance to listen to that, make sure you go check that show out. It was fun. We had a lot of guests once again, but we got through Elimination Chamber. Got a lot of fun, conversations going in that show. So you won't hear us talk Elimination Chamber in this one. We've already covered that, guys. Go check that show out. But tonight we're going to have a blast, and I can't wait. And, man, guys, this is going to be a real fun episode. But how have things been going on with you guys lately? I know we've been kind of having things change around with our schedules and everything. But what's been going on with y'all?
Work mostly.
Work, huh?
Yeah.
Sounds like me and everybody else, I think, because, I think all three of us have been, having to juggle things and do that. And I know, Sean, you've getting more and more on your plate. And I know we won't make the special announcement just yet. unless you're wanting to. But Sean's been working more. I mean, Sean, like I said before, Sean is one of the hardest working podcast producers. He puts us in every available slot possible in the podcast world, and I think he's about to add us to another big one. So I'll let Sean be the description. I'll let that be to his discretion if he wants to talk about it. But man, you're busy not only with this podcast, but we just did another podcast before we started this one.
Yes, we did, and I'm going to have a lot on my plate in about 2 weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do this all, but this is going to be absolutely nuts. I've just been working. It's inventory next week, so it's going to freaking suck total everything at Kmart because they're going to be hounding us like dogs. That's a terrible pun, but yeah, it's going to be terrible. I should note that this podcast that you're listening to right now should also be at some point available on the VOC Nation. We will be joining our friend Harry Broadhurst and Patrick Hetza and Tony Acero and Jimmy Christopher, all them, and Greg DeMarco. Thanks to Mr. Greg DeMarco for wanting to recruit us and put us on. We aren't going to be live on VOC Nation like everybody else. We're going to get it uploaded because, we're still on Spreaker. We're going to be on Spreaker. That's how we are. But yeah, so if you're a new listener coming from the VOC Nation, thank you for listening. You will enjoy the show. This is the Every Wrestling Fan podcast. There's got to be something in here that you like, some show or something we talk about or news or something. Because and we do run long. Sorry, we do. This is like a 3-4 hour show. But you can always hit pause, and then listen to it later. That's the cool thing about pause and fast forward and all that stuff you can do.
That's right.
But damn, this is going to be crazy. I got to cover the Japanese women for the Women's World Cup that starts on Saturday. I got E3 podcasts that are going to be coming up the wazoo. We're going to do reactions to every freaking press conference. Except I'm going to have all my buddies from the 4-1 Games zone with me. So I won't be doing that with myself. We already got Randall listed for that. Daniel's coming back. Robert. Everybody's coming. Because everybody shows up around E3 and they just leave. It's like WrestleMania. It's like... pretty much.
Yeah, that's the limelight period, right? It's
right,
like,
exactly.
we all want to talk about this beautiful thing, and then we're going to disappear during all the other weeks. So.
And of course, we should also note that Mr. Christopher Hale is on with us right now, just coming off work. How are you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, it was a long night.
I bet, man. Yeah, it's been a long night for us too. Like me and Sean just got through with another podcast, and we're here for the second one.
I'm sure Paul had to work and all that stuff,
Oh,
I had a 10-hour shift today.
Oof.
Rough.
I have a 9-hour one tomorrow after, in a few hours after we get done with this, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. Well, you know what? At least we're all here right now. We get a chance to do what we all like to do, and that's talk some professional wrestling. So why don't we go ahead and hop into it, guys? Why don't we go ahead and jump into some quick hits?
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
All right, Christopher, well, we're going to get you involved in quick hits today. Are you down with that?
All right. Absolutely.
All right, well, let's do something. And since I'm the one running quick hits, I am going to talk about the thing that I care most about, and that is Stevie Ray being a part of WWE. I am so happy. We didn't get a chance to talk about this last week because this pretty much happened after we did our show last week. We didn't talk about it Sunday night. But he has got a Legends deal going on, and I am so ecstatic about this. I've always been a WCW guy, of course, so it was nice to see Harlem Heat there. Now maybe we'll finally get a chance to see some revisions of Harlem Heat and WWE, most likely at a Hall of Fame, I'm guessing. That's probably why this whole thing is happening. But, man, Christopher, how did you feel about this when you heard the news?
Yeah, I was pretty happy about it. I just happened to watch the Booker T WWE 24 on the network last week, and that was an awesome show. And I think the next day, maybe a couple days after, I read the news that Stevie Ray had signed a Legends deal. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I think they're still those two still tag champs in Booker T's promotion, or no?
As far as I'm aware.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I thought it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool to see them in the ring together. I don't know how that would really work. Booker, I don't know how, Stevie Ray is as far as in-ring, ability or, what he's physically able to do now. But, I think it'd be cool to see him do like like the Ascension was doing, like the whole, we hate all the old tag teams. Harlem Heat come out, lay the smack down on them. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I just can't wait till, we get a chance to see them out there on the stage together in WWE and they can call out Hulk Hogan, like Booker T used to do. Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you. I'll leave it at that. What do you think, Paul?
Gary.
I'm pretty excited about it. I think mostly if we just get a Harlem Heat DVD out of this, I'll be okay with that, to be honest with you. If they go in the Hall of Fame, great. If they don't, I can live with it. But I think a Harlem Heat DVD would just be awesome.
Agreed.
Sean?
Yeah, I love a Harlem Heat DVD. I'm going to assume this means we're getting Harlem Heat into the Hall of Fame at some point, which that would be great, because who would have thought Booker T would be one of the guys with 2 rings if that happens?
Wow.
And Ric Flair won't be able to. 2 WCW guys with 2 rings. How about that?
Yeah, I bet Vince and the rest of his entourage never thought that would happen. So,
Nope.
it's pretty crazy and interesting, too. Let's go ahead and talk about some current things right now with WWE. And, of course, that means that we've got to talk about Kevin Owens signing a full-time main roster deal, which is very interesting. And the rumor is that he's not going to be on NXT a whole lot in the near future, maybe in the next couple of weeks. Got a lot of plans for this guy. One of the major heels possibly hitting WWE's main roster. Plus, you've also got Samoa Joe signing a full-time deal with WWE, so he's having to cancel a lot of his independent dates. And so they've got their reasons for that, mostly being ROH being on Destination America and having that process work. Plus, Vince loves the T-shirts sales that Samoa Joe's been providing him. So that's another big reason for Samoa Joe. So you got a couple of guys right here that they've signed on for some deals. And I just want to know what you guys think about these. Do you think these are wise investments for WWE to sign?
Yeah, I do. I'm just really, I don't know. I'm torn because part of me wants to see Kevin Owens on NXT forever because I know they can't screw him up. And then the other part of me is like, well, I want to see him advance. I like to see him, be the world champion one day. I like to see him main event WrestleMania. I think it's, they have something in their, in their grasp that could be an incredible talent with both Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. They could honestly carry them for the next 10 years, 10, 15 years. And, I'm excited about it if they just don't screw it up. With the last couple of years of WWE's booking and writing, I just hope, and then with the audience of WWE, how they're so, family-oriented and kid-based, and I'm just afraid he would kind of get lost in the, whole, the kids wouldn't understand what Kevin Owens is about. Obviously we do, but I just feel like, I don't know. If it's done right, it will be awesome. It would be awesome.
Yeah, I think they know what they have with Owens. They're talking about making him the number 2 heel behind Seth. So, I think that says a lot. When you pair him up with John Cena right off the bat, there's really no other position to go but up, hopefully. Although that history would say that is not true. I think when you look at signing Samoa Joe full time, I think that's just a way to replace Kevin Owens in NXT with somebody that they're familiar with. And obviously, Vince is obviously going to go ahead with it if he's making money for him right now too. So, it just makes sense.
Joe is also filling the role of having to take on, being a big draw because you got a Tommy out, you've got some other people, Sami Zayn out. Those are some names that are not part of NXT. They've got to have some of those guys replace, and Samoa Joe fits that role perfectly. Sean?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be a really good thing. I don't see what would be wrong with this. Oh, wow, Fonty's calling. So.
Oh, wow.
What's up, Fonty?
Sorry, I was jamming to the Skype sounds.
Oh, awesome. It's a new beat.
Not really.
Man.
It was pretty lame.
Don't you think they should fix that? Maybe, when you call somebody, you get some really good tunes, maybe some Rush plays or something,
I'd just be easy with the Goldust sound so I can just move my butt around when I enter the room.
There you go, Fonty. I like that. Well, hey, Fonty, you're joining us at a good time because we're talking Kevin Owens, we're talking Samoa Joe. Both those guys signed full-time Joe deals. You've got to tell me what you're thinking on this because there's going to be two different things. Owens on the main roster, and then you got NXT starring Samoa Joe.
Well, I first got to go on record for saying this. The John Cena match, the guy did work. I cannot hate on him. That was after the match was over, he got out of the ring and let that kid have his moment. Anybody who says anything bad about John Cena during that match is not a wrestling fan. I go on record all the time as saying, I hope he dies in a fiery car crash, nice stuff like that. But there was no fault with him that night. That match was probably in WWE match of the year so far. Like that hurts saying. There's like a knife twisting right now. But the only problem I have with Owens jumping so fast, what about Finn Balor? Like, that's in his contract. He's supposed to be up already. And
Finn said that he is okay with being down there. He's got a lot of stuff to accomplish, supposedly. So.
Well, if he's good with it, I'm good with it. But are they going to immediately strap up Joe then? Or, what are they going to do there? Because I understand NXT is good for the business right now. But if they start doing that, they're just going in the direction that WWE has for years, fast-tracking people and bypassing people who have been there putting in the work. And that was kind of TNA's problem. Like, AJ Styles should have been champion in that company long before he was champion in that company. And I will... I've had disparaging remarks against AJ Styles too, but the dumbest thing they ever did was letting that man go. Like, that was him, Kazarian, Daniels. Like, why are you letting even if they seemed old to them because they had been there for a while, those guys were getting that company over. People can say whatever they want. I'll say it. I used to watch, Impact just for AJ Styles' match. It's like, say what you want. The kid puts on a show, and then he leaves the company and gets even better. Like, same with Del Rio. Left the company, didn't have to fight Dolph Ziggler every week, and just became king of the indies, man. Mm-hmm. So, it's bringing in Joe was one of the best things they did. Now, if they can get in, the WWE contracts have been like the stopping point for most talent wanting to sign. If they can start giving people the Joe deal, that might be a game changer, especially in the case of AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Right. And you're talking about AJ Styles here, and thank you, Fonty, for that segue, because there has been rumor. Now, this is not fact, this is just rumor, but there's thought process out there going that AJ Styles' name is in the mouths of WWE officials, and they're interested. And I don't know if it's just because they've gotten hot and heavy with getting guys like Joe on board. Of course, that's a big, guy from ROH TNA over on their roster that they probably said they would never sign. And then AJ Styles is another one. So what would you think if WB legitimately tried to reach out to him? Now, I'm not saying he would come because he's probably happy in Japan, but what would you think if they did get him on the roster?
It'd be how Triple H says it, best for business. You can't fault them for going after talent that's New Japan's deal. No, that's if it's good for wrestling, it's good for wrestling all across the country. Like, they have got to be kicking themselves over the Del Rio incident after, like, Del Rio's just been on fire since he left. But if they can bring AJ Styles in, and I think the only way he would come in was with a Joe deal, that's going to be a game changer. I mean, because the kid works. Like he can do stuff that people who've been around for years can't do. So I mean, it's just it would be really good for business. Now that being said, the Joe deal, like there's been mixed reports on that too. There's reports saying that he's signed an official contract, and then there's reports saying that he hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean...
Well, the reports are saying that it's there, he just hasn't actually officially signed it, but he agreed to it.
Well, I mean, it's whatever's, benefits them, and that's why people can get mad if, they went to WWE, or they went to New Japan. New Japan and WWE is what's paying right now. As good as TNA is the, America #2, they're not paying their talent well. They're paying guys like Kurt Angle, who works minimal shows, more money than the guys who are out there, leaving it all on the mat every night. And that was my deal with, I cannot remember his name. Little Indian guy used to work for TNA.
Sanjay Dutt?
One of the most underrated guys in the biz. For real. That guy is amazing, and I don't even know, he must have made somebody mad, because he should always have a job.
Mm-hmm.
He's working the front office of GFW, whatever that is.
Well, that's but see, that's why are you pulling people out to work the front office? Same with WWE when they put Jimmy Jacobs in creative. Now, I will say this: Jimmy Jacobs has one of the most amazing minds for the business, but he's not ready to hang it up. I'm sure, just like Drake Younger, I'm sure he wasn't.
Jimmy Jacobs just wanted to work him creative.
I'm sure they hit Jimmy Jacobs' number, and he was like, okay, you know what I mean? Same with Drake. I don't think Drake was ready to quit wrestling, but he also has a family to support, and they, last I heard, that's a 6-digit contract he has, so, I mean, after, taking thumbtacks every month, I'm sure it's a nice change of pace, but it'd be nice to work in a place that doesn't require all that too, doing what you love. But, he's getting the exposure. But with Jacobs, I don't know. I don't think they'll bring him out, especially after bringing out what's-her-name's boyfriend and him getting horribly injured. So
yeah,
I think they're just we'll leave those guys in the back. But getting back to AJ Styles, it's just if they brought him in, that legit would be what's best for business, because they just – I think they're getting to a point to where, as strong as John Cena is, he's not going to wrestle for 20 years. He's probably got 5 more in him tops before he's going to want to settle down. Or, because at some point, he's going to want a family.
Yeah, for sure.
That I hate kids thing's going to not be around forever. And it's not that he hates kids, it's, that he travels, but I have to bring this up. Was anybody else offended Monday night by the cancer child thing? It's almost getting a bit much. Like him,
I mean,
just like
that's kind of his thing though.
But it's all he acknowledged his child, and then he kept going back to it. It's almost like, that's when he turns into the reclusive panda bear, and he comes out of his natural habitat and shows us all. He's all like, he's going to beat cancer, goes back to Kevin Owens, cancer, Kevin Owens, cancer. And I get that. But it's just, they've got to realize that, not all fans are, have that heart. And that's going to turn some people away from the product. And that's what has turned some people away from John Cena for years.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he's even caught, flack from the breast, cancer awareness community for, pandering to them and stuff. But it's not so much that they do it. It's probably how they do it. I mean, I commend him because he took the kid in after the ring. There was footage that went out, he took the kid in the ring, put the belt on him. And that's the place you do that, after the show. That's live on TV, though. It kind of almost took away from him and Owens.
Yeah, but that's who he is. He's the, take your vitamins kind of guy. He's the...
Oh, he takes his vitamins. Have you seen them?
Yeah, I know. So, well, I want to get to the rest of these guys and ask them the same question about AJ Styles real quick. And, Christopher, in this thought process, I mean, I don't know where this guy's going to fit. I just don't see him in that... world heavyweight title picture. I really see him more in the mid card. But do you think he could help WWE?
Who we talking about?
AJ.
AJ Styles. I mean, damn. I don't know about the main roster. I can imagine that dude coming in. I mean, just think about like having like some sort of like team NXT and the Bullet Club. I mean, can you imagine? Just holy crap, that would be amazing. Just like a 4-on-4 8-man tag, something like that. It would be sick. I don't know. I think AJ is doing his thing really, really well in Ring of Honor and New Japan, and you know, it would be amazing. It would be cool to see him on the main roster. But yeah, like you said, I don't know where he would fit really. I mean, there's no like, you know, maybe IC champ, but I mean, I almost think he'd be almost kind of. He's in that like area where he's kind of too good for the IC title, but then it's like he's almost not really good enough for the World Heavyweight Championship. You know, it'd be tough. It'd be tough to put him somewhere. Then it'd be tough to, you know, match him up against somebody too, because I mean he's obviously a great talent, and who you really, you know, I mean, you can only wrestle, you know, Seth Rollins so many times before it gets kind of old. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Now, Paul, I mean, you follow New Japan religiously, and I know that you probably have, you know, enjoyed what AJ Styles done. Do you think it's the right move for AJ to even consider going to WWE?
I think it's the wrong move for WWE. AJ Styles is a tremendous talent, don't get me wrong, but when you have somebody like a Sami Zayn who pretty much can do everything AJ does and has less, you know, more in the tank, I don't know why you would go that route, especially if you're investing in a guy who, as Fonte said, probably maybe only has 5 to 6 years max left. AJ, I don't think is going to get a better deal than what he has in New Japan unless he needs the money that badly. He's the top guy over there. He's one of the top guys over there. I don't know why you would give that. It's the second biggest company in the world as far as wrestling is concerned. I don't know why you would give that up, especially because they're doing great business too. So it's not like you're losing anything. And I think WWE would be. I'll go. They'll be ill-advised, I think, to pursue AJ Styles.
Sean?
You know, I think AJ Styles is a great idea in theory, right? You bring who is pretty much like the hottest indie star you can get, you know, IWGP heavyweight champion, you know, to be able to say that, you know, if they would even mention it. I mean, they mentioned it for Brock, so why not? I mean, to be able to say that, like, this guy just got done being IWGP heavyweight champion when you bring him in, if that's what they do. But I kind of agree with Paul, like, and Fonte too. At some point, you know, Joe is fine because he is that free agent that somebody was going to grab if you don't. Like, AJ is there in New Japan. He's not. He can do whatever he wants. He can go to whatever. He already turned down TNA. I mean, and what does that say about TNA? Your homegrown guy won't go be in your Hall of Fame. Your Hall of Fame is already discredited. I'm sorry. But just saying that I think that if they want AJ, they can go get him. But AJ's not stupid. He's going to ask probably for more than whatever Samoa Joe got. And then when WWE says no, he can just be like, okay, WWE said no to me. I just think that it's kind of like the Young Bucks. He's gonna price himself out of whatever. You know, I think Joe was more in a situation where maybe he really wanted to test that market of WWE, and he really wanted to go NXT. I think AJ's fine with not being there at all. And if Joe was in a more place where he wanted to go to New Japan and do the same thing, but I think he just didn't want to, and perhaps, you know, they made him a fair offer so you can do whatever you want, and unless Vince picks you, and Vince picked him, you know, and he got lucky. But I can see AJ's merch selling and Vince maybe grabbing an eye, but I just, you know, with all the different people that they have there now, could he be a world champion? Yeah, sure. But it's the whole thing of like with Joe, there's just something different there. With AJ, you still have the issue of. It's still AJ. It's still the guy that doesn't do great promos. It's still the guy that he has all this flash and we know what he does, but they have guys that do what AJ does, just like Paul said. I mean, do they need another guy like that?
That's true. That is true. I mean, the reason you would need a guy like AJ, to me personally, is to be there to help to maybe give the mid card
Now,
more
I'll say
relevance.
this. They said that Sami Zayn was supposed to basically do what Owens is doing. If Zayn was on the main roster right now, I think maybe you consider it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that, and I just think he's veteran talent, which you don't want to pay a guy top money for just being veteran talent. I mean, like right now, Tyson Kidd was recently injured. It was in a match against Samoa Joe, the Muscle Buster. Wasn't Joe's fault, apparently. It was a freak accident, but you're losing a guy like Tyson Kidd. I mean, this would be a good time to bring in a guy like AJ Styles to help take over that missing piece, tag team with Cesaro. So, I mean, stuff like that happens. It really does. Now, another big piece to this puzzle that we've all been waiting to see when it's going to happen, and it's apparently happening sooner than later. Brock Lesnar is going to come and hit the roster once again. He is going to be a part of 4 Raws leading up to Battleground. How excited are you guys about this happening, and what do you expect to happen when Brock Lesnar reappears on your TV? What do you think, Fonty?
Awesome, because it's here in Indianapolis. So, I mean, that's my deal. Dean Ambrose comp seat, so I'll be close.
There you go. That's awesome. Christopher?
No,
go ahead, Fonty.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're good.
It'll just like every time that man touches a Raw, ratings spike. So what capacity is he going to come back in is what I'm worried about. Because is he going after the title? Is that going to hurt Ambrose's run? Is it going to hurt Reigns' run? These two have been here. As much as the hate of that Reigns gets, the guy has been here working the entire time Lesnar's been gone. So, you can't, the kid's working for the crowd, and he's just, he may not be getting over unless he's helping Ambrose, but, and that's kind of what I'm angry they're doing too. I almost think they're going to turn him heel straight up, because it almost seems like he's helping his buddy to get there, and then he'll turn to, get some reaction out of the crowd. But it's just is Lesnar going to come back and going to be thrown in that Shield mix, or is he going to come back and start something with Triple H because of Stephanie, firing him? It's going to be interesting because nobody knows how he's coming back. Is he coming back after the title? Is he coming back after someone else? We will only see in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, not far away at all. You're right, and I'm looking forward to it. Christopher, what about you?
Yeah, I totally love Lesnar. Everything about Lesnar is great. I make sure to tune into Raw when he's on. The dude is just, he makes me want to watch Raw. Even how bad it is, I don't care if there's a segment coming up. If they say Lesnar's next, I'm waiting to do whatever I need to do. I hope, I think he's going to be thrown right into the title picture. Ambrose and Reigns and that whole deal. I don't know. I don't know where they're kind of going with this whole thing. 'Cause it's weird because you got Lesnar coming back, and that's gonna be a big thing throughout the whole summer up until SummerSlam. And then obviously with the Money in the Bank situation, I don't think anyone can disagree with me that Reigns is probably going to win the briefcase. But what doesn't make sense to me is he doesn't need to win the briefcase to have a title shot, because he never even got his rematch clause from the time from the time he lost at WrestleMania and the time he lost at Payback with the Fatal 4-Way. So he doesn't really need it. He could always use that if he wants a title shot. So they could give the briefcase to Ambrose if that needs to be.
Wow.
So I don't know. That's just my thought process. But it almost seems like the pot's getting kind of too full in the title picture. I think it needs to be thinned out a little bit.
You did bring up a good point, though. I never even thought about him not getting his rematch.
Yeah, he's never gotten it. I'm sure hell, Orton's never even gotten his rematch yet.
Wow.
From last year.
Paul?
See, that's why they need continuity managers in the WWE.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think they nailed it. Brock Lesnar's must-see television. They talked about this on the Stone Cold podcast quite a bit, and just how big a deal he is when he shows up on Raw. It just feels special. So, it's only good news for WWE. Them coming back this soon is a little worrying to me because it feels like they're either losing confidence in what they have going on at the top, and they feel like they need Brock back sooner, or this has always been the plan. But it feels like they're pulling the trigger almost too soon, I would say.
No, allegedly he did sign for more dates, so they got more dates they have to burn through this time around than they did last time as well. So that could be it as well.
I mean, that's great and everything. I just, you could save those to run up to SummerSlam or whatever. It's just my feeling on it, I guess.
Also, with the internet being
I'm
on,
sure Vince is paying his money, and if he wants to, but I would hope that if he's doing this, he has a plan that involves something actually good with Brock, and not just have him show up and just stand there and Paul talks for 3 out of the 4 weeks, and I just hope we get some kind of confrontation or brawl or something.
Do you think it might be with Austin, considering, because that's
no, not this early. Not this early, no.
You don't think even just a smidgen of a tease? Because that's all the internet's been talking about all
Not
week.
right now. Not right now, no. If they do it, maybe at SummerSlam you have Austin show up or something, but I don't think you do right now. I think whoever his opponent is going to be right now, which I hope to God it's not Kane or Big Show.
You put it out there. It's happening.
It would have been awesome if Joe was already on the roster and maybe you made Joe a enforcer for Rollins after everybody gets pissed off at him or something, and you have Joe and Brock at Battleground. But that's just me dreaming. But I don't think you do unless this is where they're gonna have him and Rollins, because they really are gonna do that Triple H and Rollins match at SummerSlam. But
yeah, you can tell they already laid the seeds for that on Raw, and Rollins got in everyone's face. So I don't need a piece of crap like you and Kane, and I don't need J&J. I don't need Triple H. I don't need Stephanie. They kind of already laid the seeds for that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so much involved in this, and I'm really excited about Brock Lesnar being back and getting involved, and there's gonna be so much that I think involved that will get people to watch that haven't watched in a while. And talking about that, I'm assuming most of you guys have the network. I know Sean and Paul have it. I'm guessing Fonte, you and Christopher hopefully have it.
Yes.
So looking at that and being people that subscribe like us, apparently WB thinks that giving the network out for 9 months for free is the wise idea. Now what they're saying is they're going to have it free for new subscribers all the months except, and this will exclude August, January, and April. Those are the months that you will not get.
Obviously, guess why?
Mm-hmm. Very obvious reasons. But, saying that, guys, I mean, we've discussed this plenty of times on the podcast. Me and Paul, Sean, we've kind of said our piece on this, but I'm kind of curious for you, Fonte, you, Christopher, how do you feel about it that you're paying your money every month and then all of a sudden these other people are getting it free? Are you kind of like, I hate that?
Let Christopher
yeah, I mean, it's $10, so I'm not I'm not steaming under the collar about it, but at the same time, it's I've been a subscriber. I've had the network since day one it came out, and I was really excited about it. I've been overall pretty happy with the network. I've never had any major complaints about it, and I think it'd be if they're doing all these months for free, I think they should really start focusing on something for the people that have the network already, that have had it for a long time. And, they gave out random $25 gift cards to the shop, which is cool, but, how the hell it's random? Why would it be random? You're not losing money on it. It's just going to get put back into the company. So, I guess, I don't know. I guess it's, it's like I said, $10. I'm not really freaking out about it. So I still get the network either way. But it'd be cool if we get a little something. even just I don't even know what they do, but $10, $15 is at the shop would be cool, I guess. But it is what it is, I guess.
You know what? I think that they really should. I don't understand why you can't just block those 3 months from doing a free trial during those 3 months, and you do a 1 month free trial, and then, well, this is pretty much what it is, I guess. But I think that they have to figure out some other way to where they can block it from. They're gonna have to start blocking people from making emails, or I don't know, because there a lot of these subscribers have to be people just basically redoing an email or making another email and then using a new sign on, because I cannot imagine that they just constantly have all these people turn over and then they're there the next month. Like, just at some point this free to attach is gonna not work for them, and I just don't see this point of we're gonna run this into the ground until it doesn't work anymore. Like, that's just the way they phrase it doesn't feel like a free trial month. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they show this on TV and they go, "This is the month free," like, to me and everybody else that's been paying since day one, it's almost like a slap in the face to me. I'd much rather them go, "Hey, you can get a free trial if you sign up for your first month." That sounds so much better than the way that they do it. Just, I don't know. It's just, I know it's semantics and whatever, and it's technically the same thing, but it's just, it bugs me. I don't know. Do you get that, Gary? Like, it just...
Mm-hmm. No, I totally understand that. I think they've got to make some kind of change. It's not about the money. Christopher made a good point. It's $10, whatever. But I just think that, they've got to figure something out to where that they can make sure that people are actually paying for it and not getting away with finding schemes and different ways to get this free. Where, the select few are paying and the rest are just going to enjoy the ride. I don't think that's cool at all. Fonty, how about you? I'm sure you have an opinion on this.
Well, the way they stop people from doing it over and over with different emails is they do require payment, and they're not going to allow like 10 different accounts to be using the same credit card. Now, that's how they'll stop that. Now, my feelings on this is I'm angry as fuck about it because I've been a day one subscriber, and there's several people who I know personally that got the $25 gift card that did it the month after. They didn't do it the first month. So it really wasn't like all day one subscribers, and some of them were I think they just randomly picked people who had been there longer, not necessarily day one subscribers. And it's not even that. It's just they keep giving it out for free. And I could sit here and go, well, I'm gonna stop paying for it. No, I'm not. I'm a wrestling nerd. It's what I watch. My son is named after a wrestler. I'm not gonna stop watching it. I'm not gonna stop paying for it. It's just, if you want loyalty, you've got to create some. Like, say, or better yet, don't give out on a free month after on one of your months that's not free, have one of the most awesome pay-per-views ever and been like, you could have seen that. Don't even show replays on Raw. Just say that was the only way you could have saw that, But of course people are going to download and whatever. But a lot of that's stopped. A lot of pay-per-views or a lot of people are finding harder ways to put them out there in torrents. I mean, people still are, but it's harder to not watch it without the network these days. And, lock that whole thing up where, like, oh, we're not going to show replays. This is what happened, and kind of like have Michael Cole go over it, and they'd be like, man, that sounds awesome, and get the network then. I mean, because they've already killed the 6-month subscription. So if someone's like, gee, I wonder what it would be like, they could pay the $10, see if they like it. I don't know anybody who is a wrestling fan who's going to go, wow, look at all this content. Meh, I'll pass for $10. Like, that's plus, like, it's the pay-per-views alone pay for themselves. Plus all the matter of fact, right now I'm watching the second Raw or second Nitro. So it's just all like the stuff you can go back and watch that made, the 90s babies didn't really get to see because they really weren't old enough. They can go back and watch that and maybe give them a love for it and, make people fall in love with it all over
That's if they
again.
watch it, because most of the time, apparently, the old stuff doesn't get watched. But.
Which is weird to me. Like, I'll go back and watch, some of the Bruno stuff simply because I couldn't see it. So it's just, but the option, what I'm saying is the options are there. But you're giving people the option
I'll
for
say
free.
this, Fonty. The generation after us, I feel like they care one iota about history. They do not care about what came before them. They care about what's happening right now. There's ADD. They don't care about all the stuff that happened before their time. It's stupid to them.
That's just weird to me because it's like walking down a sidewalk, and never looking back. It's all like, don't you want to see where you've been? It's just luckily my son, he loves history. So and he's actually, I think he debuts this month. I didn't know you could wrestle under 17. I'm so proud. I was just So, it's just he loves going back and watching old stuff because he was watching the Attitude Era, when, he was a baby. That was mine and him watch that. I tell this story often just because I'm so proud that he pulled it off. He held his arms out for me one time off the back of a couch. So I was like, aw. So I held my arms out. And the little bastard did a Van Terminator and split my lip open at age 2. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And he's just smiling. And I was like, "I can't be mad because you perfectly landed it." So yeah, it's just it's people I think would fall in love with if they could go back and watch WCW Nitro, they'd have more appreciation for Sting now. Mm-hmm. And seeing some of the older guys seeing Mean Mark Callius pop up somewhere, they'd be like, is that Undertaker? It's just it makes an excitement. Right now, Sting versus I think it's IRS, but he's under the name VK something. It's
VK Wall Street.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And it's just I've never seen this match, and I'm grinning ear to ear as I'm talking to you guys about it. It's just nostalgia, man. But giving it away for free, it's almost like a slap to everybody's face who paid during that era and fed that era and kept it going. And
well,
even
what do you
to this
think the
day,
people that paid all that money for those pay-per-views are thinking right now?
See, and that's they shot themselves in the foot with that. If they wanted to sell more pay-per-views, they didn't have to do it for $10 a month. They could have just dropped it down to the $29.99 that they originally had. That, I was buying pay-per-views and having 3 or 4 friends over and charging $5 a head and getting my money back and ordering pizza. You know what I mean? It was just a fun time, and we can get back to that if they'll quit giving stuff out for free. They're really shooting themselves in the foot with it because, like you said, people can cancel, but why give them the free month when they can cancel anyway? They can pay the $10 for the 1 month. If they don't want it, that 6-month mandatory is not there any longer.
Yeah.
So,
I do agree one thing, Fonty, and that is the fact that with the network, the sad part about it is no one gets together and watches wrestling anymore. Now, there are a few people. I know Paul goes and still hangs out with friends and watches, and I think that's awesome.
Harry does.
Harry does too. There are select few, but people like me, where I used to actually have to. That's where I first met Paul, was going and watching wrestling with a group of friends, and I would do that quite often. And so it's sad because now I get in my car and I can watch the pay-per-view as I'm going home.
Well, you kind of have to though.
Not really.
You're
NXT
church stuff and whatever.
That's NXT. I'm not talking about a Sunday night show though. Yeah. I'm talking about. Legitimately, I could sit in my own house and not have to worry about anything. I can do other things, and that's the sad thing about it. You would have to go somewhere.
Yeah, we had to go to I think it wasn't you, but David and Alex and I had to go to a bar in Dallas for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, they used to show them at BW3s around here, and as long as you ordered food, they didn't charge anything for it. Just as long as you ordered food, you're good.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's we just like giving away stuff for free. Like 1 month I understood, the second month I kind of got agitated, and then when I heard they were doing it again, I was just like, why am I paying for this again? But then you do realize that they do require payment when you sign up, and if you do choose to cancel, you got to cancel. So you can't keep using fake emails because that payment will pop up, and then they're going to be like, well, that's the same dude with different. So it's they've
Not
got
to mention your bank will eventually give you a problem because you're making like 3 WWE Network accounts.
Yes.
Charging you
So
$10,
I understand that that's not going to be a thing. They're not going to keep like doing that, but it's also the point of you want this to be a money making thing. Like make it a money making thing. Like you don't like $10 a month. Someone's going to pay for it if they cancel. Yeah, they canceled. You got paid from it. You didn't give somebody a free month. They canceled, and you got nothing out of it. Especially with WrestleMania, like that was one of Punk's gripes was the WrestleMania paychecks, shortened because of them not charging for the network or not charging for the pay-per-views anymore. They're charging the $10.99 or $9.99 a month, so nobody's paying that $64.99, $74 for HD. So it's a slippery slope. I just want to see it go upward, not downward, so people can enjoy the product. The people we root for can get paid, and everybody can win. But free month after free, especially 9 months in a row, like. Okay, say the thing you guys just brought up. There's, I don't know, a group of people who wants to watch it. Guy A says to Guy B, hey, this month I'm going to get it for free. Next month you get it for free. Then next month after that, we'll get Guy C to get it for free. And then when April comes around, we'll go to somebody who has it. Like, it's just, there's so many it's good and it's bad. So
yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it, and you're right. There's the positives, the negatives, and all that. And Paul, did you have anything to say before we move on to the next topic?
No, I'm good, man.
Okay, let's go ahead and talk some TNA. Let's get into this, and I know that's exactly what everybody wanted to talk about. I know you guys are so excited. But TNA apparently has blocked any of their talent for working for GFW, Global Force Wrestling, Jeff Jarrett's promotion, which I don't know if it's any hard feelings or anything. I think it's more about the fact that Global Force Wrestling is a new product, and they, of course, can make some things happen, maybe even eventually get a TV deal. I think TNA is trying to keep their guys with them. They're trying to get through the struggle of surviving and trying their best to stay on TV, Destination America, though the writing on the wall doesn't look good. What do you guys think about this? Why do you personally think that TNA is blocking their talent from going and working GFW dates? Christopher, how do you feel about this?
To me, it's a dick move by TNA. I personally think they know they're on a sinking ship, and I think they're just trying to. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, honestly. I saw the ratings today for the TNA last night and the Ring of Honor show that was, taped from last week, and they had 2 showings. The first showing for Ring of Honor was 110,000, which it's not great. It was like a .04 or something like that. But TNA, for their the first showing, the unseen episode was only 200,000, which is apparently their lowest since they've been on like Spike, and it just, I don't know. I think they're just a sinking ship. I think they're just doing anything they can to, I don't even know. Just they're trying to. If it was just me, I would just, if the talent wants to go elsewhere, then fine. If you want to go down with the ship, then great. I mean, I think at this point, Dixie Carter knows that she's screwed. And if she really doesn't think that, then she really needs mental help, because I think, I feel bad for the guys and girls on that show. They're busting their ass every week, and they're doing these shows, and in the end, it's going to be for nothing, because they're just going to end up closing their doors, and they're going to be out looking for work somewhere else. And, it's just, I don't know. I think them blocking it, like I said, is probably just a dick move.
Fonty?
I think it's bad, but not necessarily because it's a sinking ship, but more so on the talent. They're paid less now because of TNA's financial problems, and they're paid they're not paid by contracts except for the bigger name talents, and they're paid show to show. So why would you starve them out when you're barely paying them and saying, hey, you can't do these shows? Because Jarrett's just so many rumors. I don't know what's true coming out of GFW, but apparently he's got the backers, and these people are being paid well for their work. So why would you deny them, a way to make their living that will kind of keep them happy on the money front and kind of help you out, really? Because they're not being locked into long-term contracts. They're being allowed to work, GFW contracts. It's almost like, he's working with other promotions. So, these people can just go work there and then leave. It's nothing that's going to hurt TNA. And if someone watches GFW who hasn't seen TNA and sees something they like, gives them a reason to watch TNA. Just, it hurts them in the long run.
I think the TNA looks at GFW a serious competition that could outrival them on a television deal, and they don't want their guys going over there. They're trying to do everything they can to save what they have. So trying to lock them out of going to other places that have television that's not Ring of Honor, because apparently now that is going to be somewhat of a partnership, however that's going to work, if it is actually one. They're doing everything they can. They don't want them to go anywhere else that they don't, give a thumbs up to. So I think it makes sense for TNA. It sucks for the roster, but I mean, if you think about it, I mean, they might not be a TNA to work for by the end of the year. So,
that's a bad case scenario too. Everybody's like, I just want TNA to die. I don't. Competition is healthy. For the longest time, Vince wasn't trying. Wrestling got stale there for a while because what they have to try against. And then when TNA became, a force to reckon with, they had to start trying again. And even as poorly as WWE tried sometimes, now they're getting on a track to where NXT's bringing, eyes back to the product, and Cena's as hot as ever, and now Kevin Owens, and it's just you got people it's I don't know. Why deny people? It's supposed to be about wrestling. Technically, just because they're on the same channel, ROH and TNA don't have a partnership. They're just on the same channel.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens when they become competition, when they get higher ratings? Is TNA going to tell talent they can't go work there? Then pay me. Then give me a bigger contract so I don't have to go nowhere. It almost becomes more problematic for Dixie because she's tightening up their wallets without filling their wallets, and it's nobody's, even WWE seeing it as apparent with the Joe deal. At some point, these people are going to have to go work out. But there's so many pros and cons to it. Like you said, it could hurt TNA, but it also could help TNA. Somebody's like, oh, that dude's on TNA every week, I'll go watch that. Or GFW could be like, I'll pay you more. It's just I see both sides. It's just TNA's got to, their current formula is not working, so they got to change something and to make their talent happy. Because they can't do it monetarily. She's proved that because, they're giving Angle the money to stay around and all the older guys the money staying around. Whereas when TNA originally started, that's what made them exciting, was the younger cast that you never heard of. So unless you followed the indie scene closely. So it's you need to get back to that because I love Kurt Angle to death. I think he's one of them, but I don't want to see 50-year-old Kurt Angle. You know what I mean? It'd be nice to see him get one more run, but he doesn't. That was his thing with WWE. He said, hey, I want to come back. They said, we don't want you part-time. This is what we want. He didn't want it. So and people can get mad about part-timers, but, because I've been vocal about my Undertaker, issues, but the only really case that is good for is Lesnar, because Lesnar leaves, Lesnar comes back, ratings spike. Kurt Angle does not leave and come back, and nothing spikes. It's a shame, but it's just the truth.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have anything you want to make comments on this about?
No.
Okay. And we have talked about TNA quite a bit, in the past, maybe 2-3 weeks now, because of the whole Destination America situation and all, and of course ROH, and we were really curious to see where this is going to be going. I agree totally, and I think all of us do with what Fonte said. We need competition. The more wrestling we have on TV, in anywhere, honestly, even the indie circuit, it helps the business. It helps provide jobs. It grows talent. Once that goes away, your talent pool goes way down, and you are in trouble. So I am hoping more than anything that the numbers go up on those ratings that Christopher kind of gave you a heads up about. Hopefully those ratings go up, because if that means better wrestling, means better wrestling on TV, I'm all for it, and I think a lot of people would be happy to see that. One thing before we get out of quick hits, we got to talk about this, and this number is kind of interesting to me. Lucha Underground is something else, is another show we cover on this show because we love it. In fact, just last Sunday, Paul and Sean both said that would be their number one show if it came down to any of those Wednesday night shows, ROH, NXT, TNA. So this show is a really exciting show. It's a show that I think if you like movies and stuff like that, you would get into even if you didn't really know about wrestling. I think what's kind of interesting is they signed El Patron to a $500,000 deal a year to be a part of Lucha Underground. Well, of course, he's here, he's there, but we don't see a whole lot of El Patron besides what we've seen just recently. What do you guys think about this deal? I mean, are they paying the right amount of money for this guy, or are they overpaying? Fonte, what do you think?
I think he's getting paid properly. He's once he left WWE, he started killing it on the indies, and he does. I mean, he comes out and entertains, and I think they're just trying to lure him to only working for them, because I'm pretty sure he has the same deal where he works multiple promotions. Maybe that's their way of saying, we'll give you this now, but if you come with us, we'll give you a little more, because he's one of the few on their roster who was making WWE money. And I think they're putting it in in the right place. But now making that news, public, I don't know how smart that was, because what about people like Puma, who's, out there killing it, and then you got Johnny Mundo and all them, it's got to anger people on the roster. My paycheck doesn't compete with that, so I'm not upset. But, some of them guys can't, go, why am I not making $500,000? It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if they didn't give him money, he's more likely to leave, go somewhere else, work somewhere else more. But if you do give him money, you're going to make your other talent mad. It's another one of those slippery slopes.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Christopher, what do you think about this?
I think, I personally think they need a face of their company. I know they have Puma and, some of these other guys that are, really popular in the people that have watched the show from the very beginning. But I think you need that big name to kind of draw a new audience in, to draw other people in. And I think, a lot of people know Alberto Del Rio from WWE, and, El Patron from, they know the name, they know the guy, they know who he is. And I think, that'd be the same deal if they were to have Rey Mysterio on the show. I think it would be, it garners a whole new audience for your show. And I think that's, in the end, that's kind of what they're trying to do, is get, more eyes on the program, more butts in the seats, as we're saying. And, they're doing great, but I think they want to do, they want to do even better. And, if that's what you got to pay the guy, that's what you got to pay the guy. Because I think they know, like Fondy said, if, he's not going to get the money, he'll go elsewhere. So, You got to pay. You got to pay the man.
Yeah, I totally agree. You can watch the episode of Lucha Underground where he shows up on there the first time and not tell me he's worth every penny, and I'll just laugh in your face because that place just treated him like a superstar from the second he walked in. So I can't imagine how many people. I mean, they're drawing the fans that they want, I think, is what Lucha Underground's doing with this. So if they feel like they need to pay him that, or AAA feels like they need to pay him that, then that's what they're going to do.
Sean?
Who are we to complain about what somebody's paying somebody? We go through this on a sports show all the time, right? We just talked about Cam Newton get a big old contract, and I didn't phrase the question in the way that does he deserve the money or not, because honestly, you can say that Patron deserves that money. He's a mega superstar in Mexico. He has the family lineage. That guy gets some of the loudest pops in all of TNA when he comes, or not TNA, Lucha Underground when he comes out there. I mean, he's a AAA mega champion. I mean, just he has earned himself that money. I mean, and to be honest, he's a former big-time WWE superstar. I mean, I bet Rey Mysterio gets a contract like that if he ever signs, and he deserves it too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think we're talking about. I know Puma's killing it and all that stuff, but we're still talking about Puma, the guy that has been all around the indies and stuff. We're talking about a mega WWE superstar here who did a lot of stuff in 1 year that nobody's done. So,
For sure. So, lots of great comments, guys. I really appreciate it. That pretty much wraps up our news. We do have a big show coming up on July 4th, a big card. And, what's interesting about this is they are going to do this show over in Japan, and it will be a live house show. And I don't know if you guys have read too much about it. I know, Sean and Paul have definitely read up on this show. And I'm very excited about it, and I don't know if you guys are planning on watching it or not. I think I definitely am. But let's go ahead and talk about the card in general, because we're going to have several different things happen here. But first of all, are you, Christopher, Fonte, y'all planning on watching this show?
It's 6:30 in the morning. But yes, I'll be watching it. I'll be serial like it was Saturday morning cartoons. I will. So
you're gonna have your big bowl of whatever it is, Wheaties,
mixing bowl, and just empty it in there, pour the milk, sit down for 3 hours. How are they going to work commercials into that? That's what I want to know. Because in Raw they get their commercial breaks.
It's like a pay-per-view. They don't have to have commercials for that.
Oh,
okay. They'll find a way to put commercials in there.
They'll just put random, and it's not commercials. It's network little 30-second doohickeys. I mean, it's not really anything.
So it's not
Are they gonna have an intermission like they do in house shows?
I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Yeah, because people having to sit there and not going pee for a very long
well. I
amount
mean,
of
we
time.
don't have intermission during Raw, but you have the commercials. But I mean, just.
Well, there must be a Divas match or something there, right?
Yeah, they do, and so you'll have.
Nikki defending the belt against Naomi and what's her face? So yeah, there you go.
Page.
Yeah,
that's fine. There's your feedback right there.
Well, here, let's run down the card real quick, and then you guys can kind of give your thoughts on what we're looking most forward to. We're going to have the Lucha Dragons. They're going to face off against Los Matadores, which I'm very excited about. See El Torito. The Divas match, which is, I think you just mentioned it, Nikki Bella, currently the champion, versus Paige, and versus Naomi, so triple threat. Then you got Chris Jericho versus Neville, which that should be pretty cool. Brock Lesnar is going to be on this card, which is awesome. He's going to face off against Kofi Kingston. Let's just have a prayer meeting for that guy. John Cena and Dolph Ziggler. They're going to face off against King Barrett and, of course, Kane, which is,
That seemed weird to me.
Yeah, it does to me, too.
Is he putting on the mask Kane, or is it corporate Kane?
I assume it'll be corporate Kane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Until further notice. Then we'll have a tag team title match, guys. This will be kind of cool. We'll have the New Day. They'll go out there, and they all face off against. Well, now I don't know how they're going to do this one. They're planning to redo a team here. Originally, they had Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, but with Tyson Kidd's injury, not sure how they're going to go with that. So you maybe see a new
Probably
tag.
time players, maybe.
Woohoo! I hope so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good team. I would definitely vote for that one. You'll also have an NXT title match on this, guys. That's what I'm looking forward to as well. As we'll have Kevin Owens, and he'll face off against Finn Balor. So those are some big matches.
Home.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can already guarantee you Balor's winning the title on that show.
that's what I was just getting ready to say, because he's huge in Japan already. Why not, drop it to where everybody can see, and then that way, Owens can make his official, roster debut. Like that's pretty genius to do that, and that may be why they're doing that. Because, he's huge with the New Japan crowd, and, the Japanese people just love him, to begin with. So,
What's sad is that it's really obvious that it was supposed to be a Tommy spot.
Yeah. Let's talk about that real quick. What is going on with that NXT roster? Like, Zayn's out till October. That's so far away. And then now with Tommy out, and here's the best thing we all need to realize about the Cena Owens match. Owens still is not 100%. We got that match, and that's an injured Owens. What are we gonna get when he's going 100? It's just, I just fear for that roster though. If they don't get something going, that might be why they chose to bring in Joe when they did. Mm-hmm. Because they are coming to the same conclusion.
Yeah, I think you're completely right on that. Joe's a big contributing factor, and I think that's another reason why they're going to keep guys there longer. Balor, of course. Just to have that star power, they need it. NXT's the biggest brand going right now, and there's a reason for it, because they have stars. But if you drain that product of stars, you're going to be in the same boat as a lot of other promotions. So it's interesting. It really is. Now, when we get a chance to see this, I think it's great. It's going to be early in the morning, but do you think we're going to get any of the big surprises in this? Because, it's going to be a special event, and it's Japan. Any other surprises you expect? I mean, do we expect, a man named Tensai show back up since he was huge in Japan?
I'd mark out.
Yeah?
Tensai takes over Kobe's spot, and so it's Tensai versus Lesnar.
Oh! You'd see a silent crowd go, ooh. That's another thing, the crowd there. How well's that going to play over with the audience? Because you see when you're chanting, everybody's all like, this audience isn't on fire. Well, the Japan audience, they're real respectful. So how's that going to play out?
I don't know. It's the first time Brock's competed in Japan since the whole IWGP title fallout way back in 2005, 2006, whenever that was. So that'll be interesting. I mean, as much as this NXT title match is probably going to be awesome, I mean, Chris Jericho versus Neville. Sweet Lord, that is a match made in heaven.
Is that going to be televised? Because I thought Jericho's contract was non-televised events only.
But this is a house show that they're airing on the network. I mean.
Ooh, well, that's awesome. I just creamed. Oh,
yeah.
They need to do stuff like that more.
Mm-hmm.
That
all house shows should be televised on the network.
I don't know about all house shows. You got to make it special at some point. But I think once
a
month.
It. $10. I want all of them.
Once a month would not be bad. When you go to a special location that they don't go to, that has a lot of you know what? The last show at whatever it was the one they made a big deal out of, not Nassau Coliseum, but there was another arena that they were in. They made a big deal out of it being the last show there. That should have been on the network. If you have these arenas that have all this history with WWE, you could do a package at the beginning that shows all the history, stuff you can go back and watch on the network and stuff.
I like those Madison Square Garden shows from last year when they had Tommy there and all that stuff. Why wasn't that on the network?
Mm-hmm. That should have been on the network. I don't know how much. I don't know if Madison Square Garden would charge them for that. That's the thing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Lots of great stuff. I think the one match that we're really going to miss not seeing on the network, and that's Chris Jericho versus Finn Balor. I am just so sad we're not going to get a chance to see that. I hope some way it's pirated or some way someone records it using Periscope or something. So anyway, we'll have to find out if that happens. But that pretty much wraps up our quick hits, guys. We've kind of took a little bit of time on it. That's fine. That's good. We got a lot of good news, and glad to have you two guys, Christopher and, of course, Fonty, join us for doing some quick hits. We're about to move on and do some Raw, so I don't know. You guys are more than welcome to join us for Raw, or if you guys need to head out, just let me know.
I'm in for the long haul. I'm going to watch some Nitro, and then go to bed, and then get up and download the episode and listen to it all over again. Woohoo!
Yeah, you can listen to yourself, Fonty. No,
yeah, so Fonty, you gotta
never
give
gets old.
Yeah. Yeah. Fonty,
you guys have a
give us
good
the deal.
show, and I look forward to listening to it.
Well, Fonty, before you go, you gotta tell us: Are you doing? I haven't heard any more of your shows, man. Are you still?
Yeah. Sore subject there, but yeah,
Okay.
it's done. Stick fork in that. That's done. But other than that, I'm working Fallout between me and
It's okay. It happens.
So I'm currently trying to work into getting some equipment. So, and then it'll be 3 hours of just me talking by myself.
Hey.
Goodness.
Not really. It won't be that long because I can't even stand listening to me for that long. So, but you guys have a good show, and I will talk to you guys on Facebook, in the chat room, and on your guys' page. And woohoo! Go wrestling to the max.
Peace, Fonty. See you later.
Later.
All right, Chris. Well, Chris, you're in for the long haul. We're gonna get this thing done. All right, guys. Well, we will be right back with some Monday Night Raw.
Give me a second. I had to. Greg and I were hashing out times for all the shows.
That's fine. That's okay.
I was confused.
WWE Monday Night Raw.
That's why you gotta love live radio.
Yeah, so apparently this is how that's going to work. Obviously if you're listening to this on that network, then whatever. But when the show gets uploaded, I have to pick a time for it to actually air because it's a live radio network. So, this show will air at, noon it'll air in, about 7 hours or so from now on that show. Even if I upload it at 7 a.m., it's going to air live at noon, and then it'll become on demand after it airs live once.
Oh, cool.
So, and then all the other shows will be the same way.
Awesome.
So, not only Spreaker, but now VOC Nation will house all of our podcasts. The sports one that me and Gary just did, this one, all of our specials, the gaming podcast, all that stuff is going to be on there. So, there you go. Speaking of Raw, it was live from San Antonio, Texas. No HBK appearance, though. So, maybe better than what we got in this opening segment. So we have basically the story going with this is that the Authority and Seth Rollins and everybody comes out wanting the heavyweight title that Ambrose stole at the end of Elimination Chamber because, even though he won, technically the ref said no, and we have all that crazy finish. And Roman Reigns comes out to basically talk for Ambrose because that's how this works. And then basically the rest of the story is that Roman Reigns has to fight for his spot in the Money in the Bank ladder match because he gets involved in the opening segment, and he has to wrestle Wade Barrett. He has to wrestle. I know he has to wrestle Bray Wyatt at the end. I'm blanking on the person in the middle. Oh,
Mark Henry.
Mark Henry.
Yeah. He has to wrestle Mark Henry. So, and then they have Ambrose show up at the end to basically do dirty deeds and take the title again. So, how do you guys think that this storyline throughout the show went? And once again, we have this people are kind of yay or nay on the whole, should Ambrose have come back, should he not have? What did you think, Chris?
I don't know. my thought on Roman Reigns as of right now is I think he's getting better than he was, maybe before WrestleMania. This whole story didn't really. I don't know. I can't say it didn't fly with me, but it was okay, I guess. You knew the entire show he wasn't going to lose. I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, well, yeah, there's no way he's going to lose to Wade Barrett. There's no way he's going to lose to Mark Henry of all people. And there's no way with what Wyatt's been doing. There's no way he's going to lose to Wyatt. So it's like, okay, well, unless you're like a 4-year-old watching the show or somebody new, you're like, you already know what's going to happen. You know he's not going to lose. So the whole thing was just kind of like, all right, well, you just, gave me 3 hours of completely predictable television, and I knew what was happening the whole time, so why did I sit here until 11:15 and watch it? As far as Ambrose returning at the end, why not just have him disappear for a show? Why not just have him just not even show up? Not even on Titantron, just have nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Just, leave people wondering where he did, what he's doing with the belt. Burying it in the desert or threw it in an ocean or sold it in the black market in Mexico or who, God only knows, anyone could think of what Ambrose would do with it. But, it's him coming back is just, it's just a cheap pop in my opinion. And, like I said, you just knew he knew Reigns wasn't going to lose any of those matches. And the count out with Mark Henry, I mean, what a waste of a match that was. I feel so bad for Mark Henry. I love Mark Henry. I don't know, I feel bad.
If we're going to talk about wacky things for Dean Ambrose to do with the championship belt, I would like to see him put it on a plate and eat it with a fork and knife.
With some A1 steak sauce.
Yeah, throw some A1, some ketchup,
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say this. I think the Roman Reigns thing made a lot of sense coming out of Money in the Bank, but as Christopher said, it is not the most thrilling television to watch. I think the opening promo was fine, if not predictable and boring and what we usually get, but everything made sense, so at least there is that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything did make sense, and it's just the fact of the matter of, to me, the way this all transitioned. I think it worked okay. It wasn't exactly thrilling. I think that's what we're getting at here. I don't think it was bad at all. I just don't think everybody was up for it. The one thing I will say, and this is the most positive thing I'm going to say about this, and that's the fact that Roman Reigns legitimately has found himself on the right side of some people, and that includes me. I think legitimately, I don't know if they're allowing him to say what he wants or what, but his personality seemed better. He was kind of funny, kind of engaging. I just liked the way he handled himself. Let's just be honest. He didn't look nervous. He looked like he was okay in his own shoes. And that continued throughout the night. So I will say about this whole thing, no matter what you think about the whole Ambrose showing back up or not, maybe that's not as important as the fact that Roman Reigns is actually doing better.
Yeah. You know what? I think Reigns has been improving. I've never been on that. I mean, we've all been on this thought of that Reigns is not bad. I think people are just hating on him because of what is going on with him, or that he got pushed too far or too hard or whatever. But I think he's always been showing that he improves and that he wants to improve. He's been adding moves to his set and everything. It's just, I'm not going to hate on Roman Reigns. I think they're slowly starting to push him up the card again. I just hope that it's not too much too fast. And I think I remember us having a discussion about should Roman Reigns win the Money in the Bank, and it looks like that's what's going to happen here. Because it looks like Roman Reigns and everybody else, to me. Especially once we get to the news from SmackDown, which involves Kane making himself one of the Money in the Bank entrants.
Why? Why?
Because we have to continue this storyline, Chris.
I know, but oh my God.
Randy Orton is also in the Money in the Bank ladder match, so.
I know. I used to love Money in the Bank, and the whole thing with Ambrose and the two ladder, like, why would he choose a ladder match when you're already going to have a ladder match?
Yeah.
Like, I understand the whole point of, let's make a decisive champion, but a ladder match when you already have a Money in the Bank ladder match, isn't that, I don't know, is that too many ladder matches in one show?
I like ladder matches, so I'm going to say no. Plus, it fits with the story of, hey, I have the belt, but you're the champion, so let's just put it up in the air physically.
Every time you have we don't know who the champion is, that's what they do, right?
You're going to do a ladder match. Yeah, you're right.
That makes sense,
that makes sense. Yeah. You're right, I guess, yeah. Don't listen to me.
No, you're not wrong.
No, I agree.
I don't know. Feelings about it,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I just prefer
real quick about the whole Roman Reigns thing. My wife is becoming a Roman Reigns fan, and say what you will about that, but she was actually legit like freaking out that he was going to lose one of those matches. I had to laugh at her. I thought it was funny, but I'm like, Bethany, you really don't think that? She goes, I don't know, and I just thought it was funny that those are the people I'm talking about that are entertained.
Yeah, and that's the people that I think that were maybe. I mean, she's a fan, but the people that weren't, I think, got a little turned around here and maybe think that okay, he's not so bad here.
Right. Yeah.
So, moving to other things that happen on this show. Why we had to have The Miz involved with Ryback, and also Big Show is going to wind up being Ryback's opponent. Like, this is one of those times where I say, why? Is there no one else that Ryback can wrestle but the frickin' Big Show? Like, they've already had a match before. We've already seen Ryback lift the Big Show before. Like, so why can't Ryback and Sheamus keep feuding? Because that was actually pretty good. Like, what do you think, Paul?
I think that this is a way to make Ryback look more impressive. If you're trying to build him up into a more credible champion, and even though he's already insanely credible, I think even though he just took a loss to Bray Wyatt not even a month ago, which we've seen to casually sweep under the rug as he now holds a championship belt, we have a whole slew of people that nobody really cares about, but people who he'll beat anyways to make him look strong in a build up to whatever they're going to have him do. So, might be boring for now, but hopefully it will lead to better television in the future.
Chris?
Yeah, what else can you really do with a Big Show, honestly? I mean, at this point, he's been wrestling for how long? You've done the whole I'm a giant thing and I'm bigger than everybody thing, and oh look, I'm being lifted up over somebody's head thing. I don't know. I guess it's stale to me. Seeing how The Miz, apparently the match for Money in the Bank is The Miz, Big Show, and Ryback in a triple threat match for the IC title. Why? Why is Miz even involved in that? What has he done to do anything? Has he even had a match like lately, other than being on Miz TV? Like I don't know. I love Ryback as much as the next guy. I truly do love Ryback, and I just hope that they don't just they put the belt on him. I just hope they don't just crap on him. Big Show. At this point, he's in the hands of talent, and you can make him look good. But I hope it's short and sweet. I hope it's just something that is a little bridge between something else, and that's that. Why the Miz is even involved, I don't even know.
Yeah, they don't explain that very well, do they? And I'm in agreement saying, what did Miz do besides, make himself look bad several times to earn it? I mean, heck, Sandow deserves one before he does. But,
Well, because Miz is he's a complainer, and I guess if you complain enough, you're going to get what you want. I don't know, just...
Squeaky wheel gets the oil, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I'm not upset about the Big Show thing. I understand Big Show's place and everything. It's just man, if Ryback's really hurt and all, I just feel bad for him. Like, so you're gonna have to lift this like 400-pound guy on top of you, and that your ribs are gonna not explode. I mean,
maybe they'll all pop out.
Oh dear God!
that's not something I want to see. It just
the big guy.
Can they edit that on the network?
yeah, there'll be a black screen that happens as soon as.
Oh God!
Feed the big guy some ribs.
You'll think, you know what happens when somebody accidentally has a nipple slip or whatever. That'll be when Ryback has his whole ribs cut of his stomach, just black bar.
Yeah. No, just one quick thing. I've said this plenty of times, and I think Kane's back on this list of let's get these guys weeded out. It's time. We've got all these guys on the roster. Owens, different guys are coming up. They need room. Guys like Kane, Big Show, come on. Go. Go.
The only way I would mark out for Kane at Money in the Bank is if he comes out in full blown like Kane gear, mask and all. That's the only way I would. If he comes out in just Cobra Kane, I'm like, whatever. I know it's gonna happen. But if he comes out in full blown like Kane stuff, that's totally awesome with me. That'd be totally cool with me.
Yeah, I can go for that. Moving along to other things here. We have a New Day against the Primetime Players and Dolph Ziggler. On SmackDown, the Primetime Players beat Lucha Dragons in the Ascension to become #1 contenders. So that is an official match on Money in the Bank. New Day versus Primetime Players for the tag titles. So more black on black crime. That's okay.
Oh,
that's what we do in WWE TV. It's just,
I wouldn't make another comment, but I'm going to keep away from that.
yeah, that's not great.
No, not mention any cities or anything.
Nope, we're not. We're gonna leave it there. What did you guys? At least they sort of had this be involved in something, because Kofi was wrestling Dolph Ziggler for like the 9,122nd time. With We Want Lana chants in there too. Poor Ziggler, now he just gets We Want Lana chants. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, what's happened to Ziggler? I mean, I don't know. I'm finding him boring lately. I used to be excited to see him in a match and something. I love the way he sells stuff, and I think the guy's great. But it's just like lately, it's like what are you doing? You're not doing anything with him. They're just I mean, are they trying to give him a reason to leave at the end of his contract, or what is? I don't know. I just feel like he's just there now. He's almost like he's a jobber all of a sudden.
He apparently does a lot of comedy shows. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any of those comedy shows, but I mean, if things keep going the way they are, he might be needing to book a lot more of those, because it just doesn't seem. I don't know. They don't seem to be just wanting to do anything with him.
Well, he kind of bad timing. Rusev hurt his ankle, so that takes away his feud. So now he's just sort of sideshow now, which sucks. I'm a big Ziggler fan too, but this match isn't particularly thrilling. I'm still enjoying the New Day. This isn't, I think, the best example of all 6 of these people at their best.
Right. At least Titus is just throwing people around.
Mm-hmm.
It also doesn't help that they're in the middle of a very boring Raw too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I am big on the Primetime Players. I'm glad that they're doing well.
So, it's our time to talk about the Divas.
All right, I gotta go pee. I'll be back.
Gary, you better stay seated in that chair. So the Bellas are now heels again, because they did Twin Magic for like the first time. It seems like forever. Even though Brie looks nothing like Nikki anymore, really. Not even like the boobs, just like the hair, just everything sort of. There's no longer Bella twins anymore. It's Bella and Bella. And somehow the referee is dumb. and he doesn't see this. But the match was actually fine. You know, it wasn't bad or anything. I wonder if there's something going. I wonder if Naomi's getting in trouble for what happened at Elimination Chamber. Because no Tamina at Elimination Chamber, and then all of a sudden no Naomi either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hate this intelligence insulting thing with the twin match. It doesn't work anymore. Very clearly, if you've watched any Bella match in the last 2-3 years, you know they don't look the same. It doesn't work anymore. It's not a thing. It's not a thing they should have brought up. Making them heels is not a thing you should have done. Whatever they were, I think is better than what you have now, because now it's just Paige. It's Paige against the world, which I guess is fine if you're willing to go with that, but they don't seem intent on pulling the trigger on any direction but Bella. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's weird. I don't understand that either. If they really want to get this division over, if they want to find ways to get people to care, they've got to do new things. This is the same old hat. Nothing new, and not only that, it kind of insults your intelligence.
Yep, really insults your intelligence. I mean, this is one of those things too. Like, it's not like little kids can tell the difference between Nikki and Brie. Like, I mean, we're not even talking about like, okay, we aim this at kids, and like, yes, the adults are gonna. This is one of those like, it's only for kids because the adults are obviously gonna know what's going on. Like, no, even the kids know what's going on. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
And then come on now again with Randy Orton and frickin' Sheamus. Like, they don't have bad matches, but how many times are Randy Orton and Sheamus gonna wrestle? Like, just
it's the same. Oh my god! I thought we were over this, and I guess we're back, and I'm not happy.
Yeah, and Neville keeps beating Bo Dallas too. So.
Okay, give me the reason why it's important to showcase these matches over and over again. Because Neville's taking care of Bo Dallas how many times now? Is it 4 times?
Around that number.
Yeah, at least.
Oh, jeez. And we've already seen it in NXT for a long time.
I mean, the thing that got me with the whole Divas match thing is I love Paige. My wife knows I love Paige. I love Paige so much. You know, I just love Paige. But I just feel like Nikki has the championship for absolutely no reason right now. She's not doing anything with it. There's, and the whole twin magic thing. I mean, I was absolutely just thrown out of my seat when I saw it because that wasn't Brie's real hair, right? That was like a wig, right? Those horrible-looking extensions that she had, and the outfits weren't even the same. Like
no.
Nikki's was like a shiny spandex, and Brie's was like a sequined cloth. I was like, dude, that ref must be literally blind, It just like, I couldn't. I was just like, at least give them the same outfit for crying out loud. I mean. It just seems like sometimes WWE, and I don't know who's in charge of the Divas division. I don't know.
They don't pay attention to details.
They don't do anything.
They don't care about those things. They don't.
And the thing that scares me the most is when we get some of the girls from NXT that come up that put on these, I mean, legitimately match of the year candidate matches. Are they just gonna be? Is it going to be just Charlotte versus, Sasha Banks for 2, 3, 4 years? Because you can't sit there and tell me that Nikki and Sasha could put on a good match because Sasha's going to blow her out of the water. And it's going to look like Nikki's just in a, she's going to look like she doesn't have no idea what she's doing compared to, someone that has just much more talent than she does. And I will say that they're both getting better in the ring, Nikki and Brie. They're both much better than they were. But they're still not on the level of Charlotte or Sasha or even, Becky Lynch or any of those girls in NXT. They're not even on the same level. And, and this whole thing about give Divas a chance, the thing I noticed about that match on the pay-per-view was you gave them 6 or 7 minutes. They don't even have time to develop a story or even get into a story. when you give them 6 minutes, it's just like, that's one of the great things about the Divas, I don't like to call them Divas matches on NXT. I like to call them women's matches on NXT. But they're given 20 minutes, sometimes 15, 20 minutes or more to tell, and they have time to tell a real story. And I feel like the girls in WWE, they could do that if they were given time, but they're not. So I feel like they have to rush through everything, and I think they have to rush to all their spots. And I think that's why we see a lot of botches, a lot of missed times, and they're just not. They're just rushed, I think, in the end. And I don't know who's in charge of the Divas division. Is it still Stephanie? I don't know. I have no idea. But it just seems like in all sorts of just there's
really
either the
like
really really
no
good
one.
or the really really bad.
It really seems like there's not a like before there was Finley, and you knew there was trademarks of Finley being involved in that or whatever, and now it just seems like there's no one. In NXT, you know that Sarah Del Rey is the one in control of that, or however much control she has over besides Triple H or whatever, but Triple H is also making an important part of the show. Whereas with WWE, it doesn't matter if they give them 20 minutes to wrestle. You can give them 30 minutes to wrestle. It doesn't matter if you give them 30 minutes to wrestle if everything else around the wrestling sucks.
Right.
Like, if the storyline doesn't make sense, if the characters if you don't have characters, if the characters are all Angry Woman or Bella's, whatever they are, or Paige, and that's it, like, no one is going to care. You have to have all of that together, or you're never going to change people's perception. Like, we talk about Sasha and Charlotte coming up here, and for every Kevin Owens, we're going to have probably 5 Bray Wyatts, where they are cool at the beginning, or maybe Vince knows what to do with them at the beginning, and then it just trails off.
You don't even know, right?
And yeah, I'm worried about that for Charlotte and Sasha. Like, what the hell is going to happen to them? Maybe, yes, it's just like, a lot of these people that are just really good, they rise above because they are great. But do you want to see them toil for ever long? Because I'm really worried that they're going to come up and it's not going to do anything for that Divas division, because Vince is not going to change his mind about what the Divas are.
Right.
I don't know, Paul. Do you think they're gonna? They're
gonna what?
On this? Do you worry about Sasha and Charlotte coming up there and just? It doesn't matter how many great matches they have. It's just they're gonna toil away too.
They'll toil away until WWE figures out that they have a women's division that deserves more attention than what it's getting, like they have now, and they don't care about it. What we got on Raw is a very clear sign that they don't care about it. Intelligence insulting and turning the bells for no reason.
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast, and people that do these things and they only listen to themselves and don't listen to other people, you don't learn anything. You should listen to other people. I think it makes sense. Like, we were talking about how at Elimination Chamber, right, they were doing all these like 3 women spots, and they were doing a lot of stuff. It seems like maybe the stuff that you see on the NXT women's division is like getting to them a little bit. So they're doing stuff that maybe they don't feel comfortable doing, just to do stuff, to make it seem like they can be just as good, but they're not. Not that they're not, but they just, it's like throwing stuff at a wall and trying to see what sticks instead of.
It's not who they are.
Yeah, let's not have cohesive matches at all. Let's just do stuff. It doesn't make sense, Well,
I have to kind of disagree with Sean. I honestly, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2, I don't think that the main roster divas are any good. I just think they're pretty faces, pretty bodies that put on skimpy little outfits and get thrown to a ring. I don't think they're good at all. I have, never have I even cared about any women's matches, even back in the days of Trish and Lita, which they were good, but, I still didn't care. I still didn't really, just couldn't see them as legit wrestlers. But if I watch NXT, and, when I went to the NXT show in Albany, I was, like, shaking excited for when Sasha and Charlotte had their match. and it was a 25-minute classic, and it was a women's match. You know, it wasn't a divas match. It wasn't a, you know, let's see your boobs and, you know, let's see how, you know, well you can show off your body. No, it was a wrestling match that featured women. And I don't see the NXT women as, you know, I don't see them as women. I see them wrestlers that happen to be women. I don't see them as, you know, models that happen to be in a wrestling ring, like I do in the WWE main roster.
I can understand that. You know, I can totally see your point on that one. I would still contend that I think Nikki is still miles away from what she used to be, and she's at least trying.
Yeah, I don't take away from that.
And
She
Naomi
totally is
tries.
where she,
You know,
Yeah.
she's just really, she's athletic. She's just not, she's sloppy. You know, and it's kind of, it sucks because they can be good if they want to. I just wonder, it's all a mentality thing. I think with just, you have to wonder if like if you feel like you're never gonna go anywhere no matter what you do, that's gotta wear on you at some point, right? Like, it doesn't matter how great you get at something, how much you practice, if the people above you will never give you the opportunity to rise above what you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, yeah, I mean, look at Natalya. You think she just stopped trying to get matches? I mean, she could put on a great match with anybody, but she just, and she's just not. She hasn't wrestled a match on Raw in how long? In months. Months. I just think it's a match. She just stop trying. I think it's just, you know, you guys aren't going to do anything with me, so fine. I'll just be Tyson's valet. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what you want. And that's what you're gonna get. And it sucks because Natalya is an amazing talent as far as you know, in general, not just as far as the female wrestler goes. And we saw what she did with Charlotte and on NXT, and she's a main roster girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, wow, we talked about divas way longer than anything else on the show. So this kind of happens sometimes. I don't know why. So the best part of this show is once again, well, I don't know that this wasn't. I don't know that it was a total home run because you had parts from Cena that weren't the greatest or anything. But you know, Fonte brought it up. Cena bringing up a kid in the crowd. This whole promo with Kevin Owens. Where Kevin Owens came out and said, hey, look, I said, you know, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. You know, he said he's going to take out Sami Zayn, and he did it. He left John Cena laying there in the middle of the ring at Elimination Chamber. You know, he said that, you know, he once again reiterates that his son is a Cena fan. And you know, apparently even his son asked if John Cena was okay. And then he talks about, you know, how Cena has been. I don't normally go over promos, but this was an actual focal point of the show, so this is why I'm doing this. He talks about, you know, all the stuff that Cena has been, and the fact that Cena has basically not brainwashed, but he's been like the thing that his son has watched on this TV show while he has been, you know, doing his thing. But now he feels like all the stuff that Cena says is being uttered by a broken and empty shell of a man or whatever. And John Cena comes out all pissed, and he tells it. Well, I didn't like the whole John Cena telling him to shut up. That was a bit stupid. Like, he's not a child. You know, it's just then Cena has to start doing his normal thing where he brings up the kids, and he brings up the kids many times, and I didn't mind him bringing up the kid because that was probably a cool moment for that kid, and I don't have a problem with it because all companies exploit things that, you know, people or companies or whatever that have sicknesses. You know, that's what Susan G. Komen does. I'm sorry, it's what they do. You can dispute it all you want to, that they've been caught with their hand in the cookie jar many times for that. But whatever, you know, I think this came off well, except for there's parts, I think, where Cena just I don't know. He fell flat to me. But what did you think, Paul?
I think the conversation between the two was okay. Cena was a little. I mean, he's better. He's better. Kevin Owens, I don't think got enough time to sort of say his piece, though, in my opinion. So it just kind of came across as sort of one-sided.
How do you feel about the real man thing? Because to me, I feel like this is like, it's stupid, right? Like, so he proved that he beat you in the ring because he's a better wrestler or whatever you want to claim. He beat you, so, and normally, this is what's so funny, is that Cena normally comes out and says, okay, I'm cool, you beat me. This time it really bothers him, but instead of just, okay, well, I'm really going to try to, this time I'm going to do what I got to do to beat you, it's like he does like the cheap-ass version of being like, okay, well, I'm just going to attack your manhood now for no reason.
Right.
Like this doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't Kevin Owens exactly the opposite of what not being a man is? And the reason I say that is the big reason here. Always talking about his family. Always talking about taking care of his
everything
kid.
he does is he does stuff with his kid all the time on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all you see.
Exactly. So that's what you call a real man. He takes care of his business, takes care of his family, his children. And the fact that he got beat by this same guy who's not a real man, isn't that say something about John Cena?
To me, it just seems like they couldn't find. They didn't want to use the word wrestling. They didn't want to make it about wrestling, so they had to make it about something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Vince can't just let it be about the action, the what's going on between the two, mano a mano. Cena got beat. Okay, I'm gonna work harder to beat you. I may not be the better technical whatever wrestler or whatever, but I'm gonna beat you in a fight or something. You can make it about it being a fight. Like it just, this whole real man crap. Hopefully it ended after this. Hopefully next week on Raw we don't have to bring this up again. But like, both of them are real men for different reasons. Cena doesn't have kids, but even then, there are people that have kids, and they don't care about those kids at all. So they're not real men or real women or whatever the hell, But like, it's stupid. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And again, you're insulting the intelligence of anybody that pays attention to anything that goes on to Kevin Owens at all. And we're not even talking about like Kevin Steen, the ROH wrestler. We're talking about the Kevin Owens that's part of your company. He's on a Twitter feed that is part of your company. It doesn't say WWE in his name, but he links to things with you, and he's there doing things with it. It just, again, you want people to be involved in different things with your company, but then you insult them for being involved with different things in your company. This, like, WWE, why sometimes? Why do I even bother blabbing my gums about this stuff? Because you feel like you're talking to empty air.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Vince is listening to this, so it's going to kill.
I just feel like Cena seemed to, when Owens came out and did, and talked about, what he did, and I thought it was going somewhere, and then Cena came out and just kind of turned off. And it just kind of went into just kind of faded away into a fog. And he lost me, the whole thing. He's lost me. Just seemed like he was, isn't he supposed to be like the stand-up guy and, respect and, all right, hey, you beat me 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, he comes out and just like starts throwing insults at the guy like it's a job. And, Owen just kind of stands there and says, okay, okay. And that's another thing I love about Owens is when he's on the mic, it's just so it's so dry, it's good.
Yeah.
It's just like he just doesn't, it's just he talks like it's almost like because he has to talk. It's not because he doesn't have any certain Cena gets all ramped up and Bray Wyatt does the whole storytelling freaky thing. Owens just talks just you and us talking to each other, and he just talks like a real person. And I think that's what draws me to him at least the most. It's just, but when Cena comes out and just does this whole and it's not it's nothing. The whole cancer thing, that didn't bother me at all. It's like I said, Tofani, I feel like that's what Cena is. That's what Cena stands for at this point in his career, and that's totally cool. It's if that made that kid's life, and that made that kid's life, that's great. But as far as the storyline standpoint, I just feel like it kind of rambled on and it lost its meaning after a while when Cena came out, and then Owens left, and that was it. And it's kind of like, oh, well, that was felt like a wasted segment almost.
The only thing that I'll say about that is, the Owens words about him being a broken man or whatever. The whole real man thing can work in a way if you're going to make it seem like Cena is grasping at straws because he feels like Owens is passing him by, or the crowd is identifying more with Owens than him, or something like that. Just let's see where this goes. But if that real man thing just continues to be the whole him challenging manhood and it doesn't become anything else, then to me it's a waste. But I don't even like the idea of them having a rematch this quickly either.
Mm-hmm.
But do you guys have a problem with that? I understand that it's the Money in the Bank's in 2 weeks or whatever, but couldn't they have done anything other than just had them have a match again?
I think it's just them trying to slingshot Kevin Owens as much as they can up that card.
Mm-hmm.
Another match with John Cena will do it. Plus, Cena's got to get his win back, so.
I don't know about Cena getting his win back.
What if Owens pins him again 1, 2, 3? What if that happens? What happens to Cena then?
I will crap in the middle of my living room floor.
No, but I mean, as far as storyline progression though, does Cena come out on Monday and say, kind of just with his tail between his legs totally, and just say, well, I don't know. It just what if that happens? What if Owens pins him again 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring?
Then Cena better be the most broken man I've ever seen. Then.
Yeah. That's what I hope. I hope he comes out
for the belt then, and Cena will retain or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, get our hopes up and then just smash him to the ground as hard as you can.
I just really think that doing the Brock Lesnar route where Cena already gave it his best shot, but I don't know what else they could do, but going that route where Cena gets really, really close and still doesn't win, I think tells a better story than just doing the 50-50 thing. And then having them have one match at Battleground again or whatever. I don't know.
I don't even think any match should be for the U.S. title because just Owens already showed that he doesn't have any respect for the title whatsoever as long as Cena's holding it. So I think Cena will go, hey, why don't you challenge me for the U.S. title? I think Owens just be like, no, I don't want your championship. I don't want any championship unless it's the World Heavyweight Championship.
Right. So one last thing before we do the rating. What about Bray Wyatt here? He's still doing nothing. He gets beat by Roman Reigns. Reports come out now that he's not going to be protected anymore. So what are we doing with Bray Wyatt then? He's just going to be here? And he's going to be an entrance, and that's all he is?
I think WWE knows what they want to do with him anymore. And they have nobody to blame but themselves, so.
Yep. I absolutely loved the Wyatt family when they first showed up, and when they broke them up, I wasn't upset, but at the same time I was like, all right, well, this is where we're going to see where everything happens, and they have totally dropped the ball on Bray Wyatt. I almost think, unless I don't even know how they would bring him back, honestly, because I don't know. I mean, you'd have to have him have I don't know. I just feel like they have totally just dropped the ball on this guy. He is obviously a good talent. He's a great character. The guy can cut a promo to, like it's his job. Well, it is his job, essentially. But it's just, how can you not have anything for this guy? Absolutely nothing. And this whole thing with Ryback, that was the best you had. You had 3 weeks of promos for Ryback. Like, you know, I
And
love
even then,
Ryback.
why are they not feuding right now?
Right, he's beating him
beat
1,
him
2,
for the
3.
beat him, yeah.
Exactly. So how is Bray Wyatt not number one contender for the Intercontinental title right now, and Big Show all of a sudden is? He gets a shot, and Bray Wyatt beat
Chris,
him?
you're throwing too much logic into the room.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta dumb myself down. All right, well, Bray Wyatt's gonna end up. Bray Wyatt's gonna end up fighting. I don't know. He's gonna be in a huge feud with Zack Ryder for the next year and a half, and they're just gonna.
God.
Then all of a sudden, Bray Wyatt's gonna have a title shot at WrestleMania 34. There, that's you know, I lost all logic in that, so that makes sense to WWE
Can
now.
we just reform the family already if you got nothing else for the guy to do? Just I don't know.
Like, whatever happened to like Wyatt, like searching for, you know, why can't he go on another search for like recruits? You know what I mean? Like something like that. I don't know. Anything is better than nothing, I guess. Like, you know, bring back the old family. Maybe they can like start kidnapping people again and tie them up and put them in the boiler room. I don't know, something.
All right.
I want to be entertained. Damn it.
No comment, Gary.
Yeah, you guys have pretty much covered everything you need on that, so.
You don't have any feelings about Wyatt?
Honestly, not doing anything with Wyatt. And enough said. I mean, it's sad. I get depressed every time I think about it. They put him in the situation they did on Raw. I mean, okay, yeah, I mean, you put him against a guy that's WWE's hoping to be the biggest babyface besides John Cena. But the problem with that is you're asking him to be on a really high and then all of a sudden knock him down because to get over Reigns, and it just, I don't know. I just don't like the whole thing. I think they need to make sure that they find other ways of working Bray Wyatt in, not like this. But needless to say, not a bad choice to be the last guy if he's going to be thrown in there somewhere.
I also think that whole thing with Reigns kind of takes away from Ambrose too, but that's just me.
Well, I agree on that for sure.
It's like, isn't the whole point that Ambrose is going for the title, and then you got to just stick Reigns in here because we have to, I guess. So rating for Raw, what do you guys think? Paul,
5.5.
Chris,
4.
oof. I hate how Gary's rating it.
I'll go 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 5 too.
Fair enough. So that is Monday Night Raw, guys. We, of course, hopefully next week will be better. But of course, we are going to move on and talk about some other promotions. We are, of course, going to jump into the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. So let's go ahead and get into that. Christopher, did you get a chance to check it out?
Yes, I did.
All right. Well, give us your thoughts overall of what you thought of it. I mean, we had, of course, him talking to Paul Heyman about some of his past, some of the things, you know, him and Vince Sr. We had some talk about, you know, finishing moves. That was surprising. They talked a little bit about finishing moves. They talked about a wide array of things, but it was really interesting. And plus, they also maybe hinted or maybe just threw that out there about maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. A lot of different things. So give us your thoughts overall.
I thought it was good. It wasn't as I guess controversial as I thought it might have been with Paul Heyman. But then again, it was kind of everything I expected it to be. I was kind of almost expecting some sort of WrestleMania Austin Lesnar thing to be kind of thrown on the table, and when it happened to me, it was almost like when, you know, during the show, it seemed like they were just like in a podcast. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed like they were just talking about stories, and, you know, I thought the whole thing about the moves was great because I thought, you know, I never really thought about moves that way. I just, you know, I thought about them as, I guess I never really did think about them as much. But once they laid them out, as you know, as far as, you know, a move is booked, like, you know, back in the day, a dropkick was a finisher, and now it's used like, you know, as much as a you know, a wrist lock as these days. But you know, and then when all of a sudden, you know, everything seemed like a normal podcast, then when they kind of got into the whole Austin Lesnar thing, it kind of seemed like they turned into character a little bit. Austin, you can kind of see it in his, you can kind of see it in his mannerisms. You can kind of see it in his eyes, in his voice, even, and how he talked. You kind of tell he just got into that Stone Cold Steve Austin character almost. And Paul Heyman kind of got into that evil Paul Heyman character almost when they were talking about it. But it was weird to me, but it was really, really good, because I think if it does lead to something at WrestleMania, it's going to be the biggest match, probably, I would say, of all time. And I think it will sell out the crowd easily. I would, but if that match is booked, I will buy my tickets and fly to Texas to watch that match. Because, that's going to be Austin's last match. So, I'm going to be there to see it if it happens.
Yeah, the podcast in general I thought was very entertaining. The highlights for me, I loved listening to Paul Heyman talk about promos. I thought that was really cool. How he breaks down how people do it today versus how he approaches a promo. Very interesting. I loved the road stories where he's talking about him driving around the Samoan SWAT team and then what the Steiner brothers would do and how they got them back. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, I think Christopher nailed it. Whenever we get to the part where it very much seems like we're building towards something for a WrestleMania match, you see Austin immediately switch on into Stone Cold. Immediately switch on. And it makes for some entertaining, 10 minutes of podcast, but it also it begs the question of how much of a work is this,
Yeah, this, the whole, obviously, the Brock Lesnar stuff was, most of it was stuff if you've heard any of their, his regular audio podcasts with Paul Heyman, they talked about a lot of the stuff. Again, I agree with Paul, the thing with the Steiners was hilarious. You could not do that today. There's no way in God's green earth you could do that today. But, one of the cool things about back in the day, you could do crazy crap like that. The thing with Heyman, and I thought he was going to really call Brock there for a second.
Oh no.
That would have been really cool if he did. But you know what? Honestly, I think with as much pub as it's gotten, with real sports sites pick this up. Yeah, ESPN's done wrestling stuff before, but CBS Sports picked it up. Other places picked it up. Obviously people are intrigued by it. I'm sure Vince has talked to him about something like this already. It's not like I'm sure they've never brought it up before. But I think it's something really interesting if Austin decides, okay, we're doing this. And if I'm Vince, man, I'm throwing money everywhere at the fact that let's do this. You want to sell $100,000 or 100,000 tickets? You make that one of your main events. That will sell 100,000 tickets right there. And then if you throw in, Rock versus Triple H, and if they have Sting versus Undertaker, which I think it's a travesty that Sting's not doing something for SummerSlam at this point, but then maybe that's just me.
I agree, though.
That's what Bray Wyatt could be doing right now. Why is Bray Wyatt not having a feud with Sting right now? Anybody, that's the perfect feud for Sting.
It's too logical. You think outside the box. Big Show is a good guy people should face more often.
I agree, Gary.
Yeah,
Totally
Kane hasn't had enough matches. I hear Kane's, ready to go.
I think Kane, Big Show. I think that should be a match. I think that should be main event.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Kane versus Sting wouldn't be bad because it makes sense with The Undertaker, though.
Yeah, I guess so. But, yeah. But you're right, Sean. And we get a lot of discussions like that. I love the fact that really these two guys, they sat down at first, and I think they were kind of lost a little bit because of the fact that, honestly, Stone Cold's done a podcast. I think 3 or 4 of them already with Paul Heyman. So this is nothing new. But on the other hand, they're so used to saying what they want when they want. They had to think out some of the things they said in this podcast because they didn't want to offend Vince or offend the writers, offend anybody in the WWE. They wanted to keep it good, to keep it, in the WWE universe realm, not let anybody else in. And so I think at first they were kind of uncomfortable. I think they loosened up. I think the show got better. It was interesting from start to finish. And I think that, Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't have to ask the hard questions. Really, he said there wasn't really any, and I agree. Really, what were you going to ask him that was so critical to the business? I'm sure there's some really deep inside things, but you don't need to go that far. You just want to find a few things out. So I thought it was interesting. I think the whole podcast was very successful, and that in promo probably put over this whole podcast for sure now. Maybe even on your mobile phone, but it also got it over for the new next episodes we're going to have on the network. So,
and we already know he's going to have Undertaker and Sting on there. So I want to be, those are going to be interesting to see what questions he gets asked. And
Exactly. Lots of cool stuff. So, all right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and move on. We've got other shows to talk about, so we will go ahead and be jumping into, let's see here, NXT next, and then, of course, don't worry, we were going to cover Lucha Underground right after that, but we'll be right back with NXT.
WWE Developmental NXT.
all right, NXT this week. Maybe it wasn't the greatest NXT, but let's get through this here. So we start out with an Adam Rose Tyler Breeze match, because this goes back to that tag match where Tyler Breeze just kind of turned on Adam Rose. We get a "We Want Kruger" chant, and then fans that were chanting "No, we don't." Yes, we do. Shut up. Maybe he'll get over with that character. So basically, they have a nice little back and forth match here. We get the big spine buster from Adam Rose. Tyler Breeze hits the nice little Chris Jericho dropkick to the outside. He ends up winning with the beauty shot. But I thought it was pretty decent. What'd you think, Gary? Gary leave? Chris?
Unfortunately, I haven't gotten a chance to watch NXT yet. Sadly. But the only part I did watch was when Eva Marie got the shit booed out of her for like 5 minutes. I thought it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, she got.
I thought that was like amazing.
Completely
lit up
utterly
so bad.
Booed out of the building.
So bad.
Ugh. Well, Gary, what did you think of this first match with Rose and Tyler Breeze?
It was okay. It was, I guess, a decent way to start the show. I didn't think it was a bad match or all, but not a very heated feud, so not much to get invested in. You know what I mean? It was just nice to see Breeze win.
We do get Regal cutting a little. We go to a backstage thing where he talks about the Japan show, also being with the NXT title match. Which this is what led to the confusion, because it made it seem like the only thing that was going to be on the network was Balor versus Owens, and then later in a WWE tweet is when they said that the whole show is going to be on the network. So, but anything you want to comment about, Paul? We did get the Eva Marie getting booed out of the building here too.
Yes, and that was I kind of felt bad. Believe it or not, I did feel bad for her. She was trying to do her thing, but
And she's also been trying. I mean, they have been showing those videos of her training with Brian Kendrick, so she's trying.
Are you guys excited about her facing off against Bayley?
What do you think?
I think Eva Marie in the ring post Brian Kendrick training is just going to be interesting. I want to see how well that transfers over. I want to see how well she can do now that she seems to be giving a chance to take this more seriously than what she was originally brought in for. So, I think props to her for that. Tyler Breeze, Adam Rose. Tyler Breeze getting wins, great. I think Tyler Breeze continues to prove that he can work with whoever and still make it an entertaining match. So always good news there.
So what is everybody's vote on the We Want Kruger chance? Do you want to see Kruger back? I know Gary does.
I dream about that.
Hey, it's better than the other things I've heard you dream about, Gary. So.
Hey, Ziggler showing shots of his butt is, it happens.
I don't want to know.
I still think the Adam Rose character has a lot in it if they chose to do something with it.
But isn't it damaged goods on the main roster, though?
On the main roster, yes, but I don't know if he's ever going to make it back there. If NXT is going to be a brand, I think you're going to need some NXT-centric characters, and Adam Rose, I think, did fill that role perfectly if they want him to do that.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I would like to see definitely Leo Kruger come back. I think the Adam Rose, I like where we're going with this character, like a little more edgier kind of. It's almost like the male version of Emma kind of right now. Like he was like the all happy-go-lucky, party kind of guy, and all of a sudden he's kind of like, doing the same thing Emma was doing when she kind of did her little poking at the bubbles thing. She kind of like shrugs it off and seems like he just doesn't care. And I don't know if they're going kind of the same route with that as far as slow burn, the whole kind of heel character. But at least they're doing something with him, which is totally fine with me because I like to see character development, and if that's what they're doing, then let's do it.
It seems like they are kind of morphing him into Kruger a little bit. He keeps coming to the ring acting like he really doesn't give a crap every time he's out there, which is the whole point. That he kind of feels like, well, I lost my rosebuds. This is kind of
Mm-hmm.
So we do get Alexa Bliss against Carmella. This was okay. We do get Alexa Bliss winning with a roll-up using the ropes for leverage. So, heel tactics from Alexa. Obviously these two still got a long way to go. Alexa's a little better than Carmella, but it's not saying much. Yeah. So, there's that.
Yeah, it's, a decent match for what it's worth, but nothing to write home about. I mean, I think, once again, this is more about trying to get more heat for Alexa Bliss, and I think it worked okay. I mean, it wasn't the best thing ever, but it was okay.
I think this is probably better than what anybody would expect it to be with these two girls where they are right now in their progression as wrestlers. So,
Chris?
I like Alexa Bliss a lot, but we'll see. Let's revisit this match in a year and see what it looks like.
See where they both are, huh?
Yeah.
I still think they need to change the music though for Alexa Bliss. Heel music for her, glitter, glam, glitz, and all of a sudden, death metal music.
Yes.
I'd be down.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So
and instead of sparkles, it's just blood. Just rains from the sky.
Yes.
Hey, go with the color of the band, all red.
Yes.
And whatever. Vaudevillains make a return to go against Jason Jordan and his partner of the week. This seems like what they're doing with this is that Jason Jordan's going to keep going through partners till he finds one. But his first one is Marcus Louise, who we have not seen in a long while. Vaudevillains get the win, as you would expect, since they're the established team, who, even though we haven't seen them in a while either, with the Whirling Dervish. Wasn't much to this, really. The better thing is that we get a nice little video for Sasha Banks, and Finn Balor also gets to cut a promo about going back to Japan, where he won 11 championships. Wow. He got to talk about how he won 11 championships somewhere else. That's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. There's also the main event, which is Finn Balor and Rhino. But there you go. What do you think, Gary?
Looking at this, let's just go back to the The first thing you were talking about.
Vaudevillains.
Vaudevillains, yes, Vaudevillains. I think that's a okay thing. I think it's good to see the Vaudevillains back. We need them. Definitely need them. I kind of missed them, to be honest with you.
I mean, if I was Jason Jordan, like, who thinks that Marcus Louis is better than Chad Gable?
Yeah.
Like, if I'm looking at Marcus Louis, I'm like, dude, why do I want this crazy guy as my tag partner?
Mm-hmm. We're not going to have the young Kurt Angle or the guy that has no hair. Yeah.
Looks like Kane's sibling or Kane's son or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I think that was kind of comical, but that match mattered nothing. It was about the story, plus it was about giving the Vaudevillains a win. Then you get on and you move past that, and you get, of course, that Finn Balor promo, which is it's good. Here's the one thing that I would change, and this is just me. I'm a production nut. I love production. I think WWE is the best at it. Out of a lot of other, even Hollywood. But looking at this, when he mentioned the demon, I wish that they would have totally had every light go off in the room or just leave a lamp in front of him. And you know when you see those movies or you actually see someone that's
I know exactly where you're going with this.
filmed in the dark. Not saying red eyes. There's no red eyes. I don't want it to be corny because we're not talking about TNA. We are talking about when you get a camera.
A shot of TNA, huh?
No, I'm just making reference to what they would do. But, you know, my point being is, you know, when you get a camera shot of someone and you see their eyes, and that's pretty much what you see of them, and you can kind of see the reflection of the light in front of their eyes. You know how you get the kind of wide-eyed look? You see, I guess you guys may know what I'm talking about. It looks like they have some kind of glimmer in their eye. I think when he talked about the demon, that should have happened.
So, like, you can see, like, the demon through his eyes, what you're trying to say?
Well, it just looks creepy, like, all of a sudden, it's not red eyes, but it's creepy. You can kind of see the glare in his eyes. I think that would have been perfect for this because, you know, he's not with the demon. But then again, he's going for a straight promo. I just think they should have added a little bit more.
Well, I mean, if you're going to talk about red eyes, we need to have Ben Stein show up.
Yes, there you go. Hey, you mentioning Ben Stein's not bad. Now you owe me some money, though. But, you know, the main event, though, I mean, for what we got, I mean, that was good. You know, we got Rhino involved, and I love watching Rhino. I'm kind of a fan of Rhinos, and both those guys did a pretty good job. I really do think that. On the other hand, you know, it wasn't the best match I think we could have got from those guys, so I think they did a okay job.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, no problem with the main event. Back and forth sort of thing, clash of styles. Not probably the best we'll see from them, but I think I think that's the first time they've ever wrestled. So, got to give them something there, and everything else I think was okay. Just nothing spellbinding on this episode, like you said.
All right. Well, that's our Chris. Did you want to say anything, or?
No. I mean, no. They all can't be winners, I guess. So,
yeah.
Which is fine.
So, did you watch? The only thing you've watched from Wednesday is ROH, right? And then some TNA.
Yes, I watched it. I wouldn't even say I watched enough TNA to say so. I watched a little bit. I watched Ring of Honor, yeah.
Okay, so let's do ROH first, then. That way Chris is not sitting through stuff that he didn't.
All right. Well, saying that, guys, we will be right back with ROH Ring of Honor.
All right. I'm guessing I'm doing this.
I can do it. I don't care.
You got it?
Go for it, Paul.
So we open the show. We have the Briscoes out to hype tonight's main event, and we're pretty much all on board for the main event of Jay Briscoe defending the World Championship against Jay Lethal, who's also putting the Television Championship up for grabs. The main event, Best in the World. It's pretty much the focus of a lot of the show. But our first match is Kushida. This is the first taping from the night 2 of Best in the World, or not Best in the World, sorry. Global Wars. So we have Kushida taking on Will Ferrara in the opener. I thought this was fine. Nice little opener, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, pretty fast pace. What'd you guys think?
What'd you think, Chris?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. You know, it's my first taste of I've always followed Ring of Honor in New Japan. I've never actually sat down and like watched it. So it was my first taste of Kushida and Will Ferreira, and I loved Kushida. I thought it was great. I liked his style. I liked the quick pace of the whole match. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think, that they had a pretty decent match here. I really enjoyed it as well. Kushida, good to see him again. And I just thought it was great that Kushida gave a break to a guy that was in the WWE, a cameraman from the WWE. That was just so sweet of him. I'm just kidding. But anyway, no, it was a really good match. I think those guys did a pretty decent job.
Yeah, this was a good opener. Certainly, it was fine. I didn't think it was anything like totally kick-ass or anything, but probably because I'm spoiled with Kushida, so.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Once you see a lot of Kushida matches, you're like, yeah, they could have been better.
Yeah.
That's fair. We move along. Kazarian and Daniel show up, make fun of Red Dragon for Red Dragon expecting a championship match, and Kazarian and Daniel say, well, we'll defend the titles next week, but it's probably not going to be against Red Dragon. So I imagine a joke team is coming. We move on. Silas Young takes on Watanabe. Another 5 or 6 minute match that I thought was fine. I love Silas Young to pieces, though, so.
Chris?
Yeah, the dude has an amazing stash that I wish I could grow, but I will never be able to even get close to growing. Like straight up Tom Selleck stuff. It's great. Yeah, it was a good match. I thought for a big dude, he can definitely, I've never seen this guy before, and for a big dude as he is, he can really move across the ring really well. And yeah, I thought it was a good match. They both seemed to, they both put in a lot of hard work, you can tell, and the crowd seemed to be pretty high for, what was his name, Watanabe or Watanabe or whatever. Yeah, they seemed pretty hot for him, but like I said, this is my first real taste of New Japan kind of stuff, or New Japan stuff, and most Ring of Honor stuff. So, yeah, I thought it was a good match. A lot of power. I liked a lot of power moves that were in it. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good match, and Silas Young once again shows his talent, and I love. Well, you've already mentioned the stash, but it just, to me, every time I see him, I kind of think, okay, 70s wrestler, but not in style. It just looks like a 70s wrestler. Yeah. And then, of course,
not like bad 70s wrestler like Joey Ryan.
No. I'm talking more of, Jake the Snake or something like that. Looking good, even though Jake Snake's 80s. But anyway, point being, though, looking at this is that I think that they had a pretty decent match, and the fact that, I would put myself in their shoes sometimes. What would I do backstage if I was those guys? And with the name of Watanabe, I think that I would probably for short call the guy Wonton, but it may be racist. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it is. Scary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I love how you just slide that in there. Like that's no big deal. And you were right. Jake Roberts would have been fine in the 70s. Because he did wrestle then too. Anyway, this, Watanabe usually is not like one of the guys I'm like that big on, but he had the working boots on for this one. The German suplex on the floor.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Awesome.
That was nasty.
Then of course Young's airplane spin in the TKO is always cool. I want to see John Cena come to Silas Young and be like, "You're not a real man." Yeah, get slapped by Silas Young, then find out if you're a real man or not. He's the last real man. Damn it, respect him.
He'd be like that dude in the Dr. Pepper commercial where he's out lumberjacking it all up, and
yeah, exactly.
That's Silas Young.
Yeah, well, when you're packing Stan Hansen as your uncle, I'm pretty sure there's no way anybody could say you're not a real man.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, next match, Moose is supposed to take on BJ Whitmer. Whitmer backs out, gives the match to Colby Corino, the young boy for the decade. who Moose pretty much just destroys. It like mercilessly destroys as he's heading into a number 1 contendership match at Best in the World. And Steve Corino steps in, tries to get him to stop the match, and they eventually do, and Moose gets the win.
Did anybody else feel like Corino just sort of was like not really caring about the fact that his son was getting whooped? I mean, like, I don't know. For being his dad, he's just kind of like, oh no, like, dude, if that was my son, I'd be like screaming, like, it's just. Kevin Kelly acted like he cared more about the fact that his son was getting hurt than Corino. I don't know.
I agree. It was like he's afraid or something.
I mean, I'm sure Steve Corino could take BJ Whitmer, no big deal, right? Like, so, yeah. What'd you think, Chris?
That was a tough sight to behold. Pretty much Moose beat the hell out of the guy. And, Moose is a giant black man. That's all it needs to be said.
Enough said.
Yeah, enough said.
It's like, okay, so it's like Moose, like, he's like a heel that just gets cheered or something, or?
That is supposed to be the point. Veda Scott and the other guy, whose name escapes me at the moment because I'm tired, they're supposed to be running him through people and whatnot. And it's not just. I think everybody just likes chanting Moose, to be honest. But
yeah,
the guy is legitimately talented too, so that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Jay Lethal is complaining to Truth Martini backstage about having to be in the main event. Truth, of course, has a plan. So instead, it's the Briscoes, Jay and Mark, taking on the House of Truth, which is Donovan Dijak and Jay Diesel, and Lethal's doing commentary. Briscoes run through the House of Truth pretty in a short order, I would say. I guess 15 minutes is a really short order, but it never really felt like this was any threat to those guys at all. Lethal saves Dijak from the Jay Driller after the match. Eats one himself, and that's the way we go off the air.
Chris?
Yeah, it was good. It was, I like the Briscoes. I've seen Dijak in person. He did a indie show over in Whitehall or in New York, right next, right about 20 miles from me. He's a big dude, huge. Kind of deceiving when you see him on television compared to in real life. Yeah, it was a good match. I thought, it ended the way I expected it to. I didn't expect anything. The only thing is, I've watched the Jay Lethal when he was in TNA. I've watched the impersonation of Ric Flair that he did, and whenever I hear Jay Lethal's voice, all I hear is Ric Flair.
Yes.
I've watched it so many times. It's all I hear is Ric Flair. I'm just like, just can't get out of my head.
Have you heard him do Macho Man? Because he's awesome.
I have. Yeah, he does good. Yeah, he does a really good Macho Man too.
That's awesome.
Oh man, this match was nothing. It's just like as soon as okay, I don't mind Dijak. In fact, Dijak's cool because he retweeted me like twice on Twitter. So that guy's awesome in my book. Even though I was watching NXT and ROH at the same time, and I had stuff that was basically like comparing NXT and what NXT and ROH were doing, and he still retweeted it, which made me laugh. But still, guy's cool. It's like as soon as you take out Lethal and put in Jay Diesel, I'm like, oh, okay. Don't care. Wait till the match is over. Watch Lethal get Jay drilled. That's nice.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was not much going on because of that fact. I mean, I think the perfect ending was, Jay Lethal getting the comeuppance and getting, Jay drilled. But besides that, I mean, it was just kind of there, kind of finished out the show. So, not the strongest episode of ROH, to be honest with you. I kind of go back to what Sean was saying is, well, a debut like this on Destination America is kind of odd. You would think they'd have a hard-hitting debut.
Yeah, they couldn't control it, though. It was
yeah,
done.
It works out that way. So, Anyway, well, guys, that's ROH, and of course, we only have one other show we're going to review, TNA. But Christopher, I know you didn't get a chance to check out TNA, so we won't make you suffer through that. But
it wouldn't be much help with TNA.
No, definitely, I understand. There's no worries, man. We appreciate you.
Backwards and do Lucha Underground then.
Yeah. Well, did you watch Lucha?
I didn't. I haven't watched Lucha yet either. I know. I'm a horrible wrestling fan.
No. It's only 2 days removed, and sometimes you got to get in those shows when you can. So, but man, we appreciate you, man, being on the show with us, and hopefully you'll come join us again soon.
Oh, absolutely! I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, Chris, man, we'll catch you down the road, buddy.
All right, take it easy, guys.
Later.
All right, bye.
All right. Well, I did say TNA, but we can cover Lucha Underground actually first. I think it may be the wise decision. What do you guys think?
Yep.
All right.
We have to talk about it. You promised them, Gary.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So we are definitely talking. So, all right, we will be right back, guys, and we'll be talking Lucha Underground.
All right, so Lucha Underground, if I can get to the part where Lucha Underground is here on my screen. So we have Chavo meeting with Dario Cueto, and he tells him all about the thing with Black Lotus and that Dragon Azteca trained her, and you can hear the Spanish accent with Cueto there where he says Azteca because they do Z's differently in Spain than everywhere else in the world. He throws a couple stacks on the table, or like 3 or 4 stacks on the table, and is like, hey, how much do I got to pay you to get you to bring her in? And he's like, I just want round-the-clock protection from Mexico. And he's like, all right, I'll just keep my money to myself then. Jack Evans gets to wrestle on Hennis for one of the Aztec medallions. There are 7 of those. Remember that Phoenix has one of them. You know what? This is what's so cool about Lucha Underground. This stuff is old. Like this stuff with the Aztec crap is from way back in before civilization, pretty much almost. And it works with this. We can't even get WWE to make sure that the Bellas wear clothes that look the same. But somehow we can get Aztec medallions to work on a wrestling show. This is what's cool. Anyway, Jack Evans does a lot of crazy freaking stuff. So does that Hennis. I thought it was a really fun opener. Jack Evans wins and gets one of the medallions.
Yeah, good on Jack Evans too, because he's really entertaining. He's so much better from the last time I saw him, which is early days of Ring of Honor, where he was very much a guy who would come in, do flippies, and leave. Now he's come in, do flippies, be a dick about doing flippies, and leave, which just makes him so much better.
Add in the personality. It really helps, huh? Love it. I love that the way Paul calls it down the line. You know what? I did not get a chance to know him before that beautiful personality. But, I do love him from what I do see. He's just there's something about the guy that is entertaining. Not only that, he's got a good way of putting on matches. So definitely good stuff here.
Yeah, agreed. So this is where I'm sure Gary was just glued to the screen for the next 2 segments, because this is right up his alley. Daivari comes in and tells Rick that he's got a trios title match. Well, why we need a partner, and Big Rick's like, well, my brother Mac over here, and then Cage just comes in because I guess anytime you mention trios, Cage is just there. And so then Cage and Max start having this fight where Cage just rams Mac into the lockers back and forth a bunch of times. Then one of the lockers just magically falls, and Cage just scoop slams Mac on top of the lockers, and then he's out. So it's Cage that's going to be the third guy. And Rick's like, screw this, because I just want money, damn it. I don't care if he just beat up my brother, Then we get to see Black Lotus talking to Chavo, and Chavo tells him about all this stuff, and then Black Lotus gets ambushed by the crew, and she just starts beating up the crew, slamming them into the lockers, and kicking and fighting and everything, and then eventually Chavo knocks her out with a pipe because he's a coward, and then he handcuffs her. So, yeah. How did you love your Kill Bill in the middle of your wrestling show, Gary?
It was a lot of fun. I really did enjoy it. You were right. I was glued to the TV, and I think they did a great job, especially doing kind of the back-to-back segments here. Because, a lot of times when you do that, let's be honest, in wrestling, it's not really something you want to see a whole lot. You want to get more, wrestling, maybe a promo, then maybe a wrestling, and then maybe one of these vignettes. But these are worked perfectly hand in hand together. I love the fact that Cage was involved, and that whole thing. And I was wondering if he misheard them in the hallway. They were saying trios, and he thought they said chorizo. That's why he showed up. So, but. He showed up, and I think that's what pissed him off about no chorizo. So, but I'm glad that he had a great time. And when the Black Lotus, when she was involved, I mean, that was great too. You get a chance to see a little bit of it. I just think it's so interesting the way they played it out. They got all the different camera angles. Really cool stuff.
It's a good thing he didn't go have some chorizo. They would have had to show him go to the bathroom.
Well, everybody hangs out in there, so, I mean...
Yeah, that's where everybody hangs out in the bathroom. What'd you think, Paul?
The thing with the Trios title I thought was fine. It's not even about the Trios title. It's about showing off how Havoc and Helico and Ivelisse still don't get along. Big Rick and Mac are going to be a thing. And Daivari and Tejano are still a thing, and you have Cage just sort of tacked on, I guess, to use him. But it almost sets a bad precedent, I think, for the Trios title that they're secondary in all of this and not the focus.
Yeah, because Tejano basically had to save the match because they were about to lose, and then
right.
Tejano just comes out and Son of Havoc wins because of that. This one wasn't really the best Trios match, to be honest. It was decent. It wasn't, it was more about them being really dysfunctional than it was about them really wrestling.
Right.
They're dysfunctional, but then again, it's kind of a feel-good story about three unlikely people to be in that position, and they are in it, and they make it work. Yeah. But besides that, you're right. It's very dysfunctional, and they just happen to find ways to win. They're kind of like Homer Simpson. They fall into a vat of money somehow,
And of course, Vampiro has to remind you every 10 seconds that Ivelisse's scream is annoying. Well, speaking of Vampiro, he's going to have a role to play at the end of this match. We get the submission match between Pentagon and Sexy Star. Sexy Star actually controls a lot of this match, except for they play off well the fact that she doesn't really know how to do submissions because it's not her forte. She does sort of get a half armbar in, but she doesn't get the cinching all the way, and it's as close as she was going to get to making Pentagon tap out. Superfly showed up, and in a bit of continuity, he freaking cost the Sexy Star the match because he's pissed about losing his mask. And then we get the package pile driver and the tapita for the tap out win for Sexy Star, and then he's going to go break her arm, and Vampiro comes in and gets in his face, and the fans go absolutely bonkers. I mean, this is loud. Like, one of the loudest reactions ever in the entire arena was for chanting for Vampiro because they wanted to see him deck Pentagon Jr. And then Vampiro is hearing the crowd's cheering and voices, so he smashed his head into the mirror a bunch of times to get them to shut up, which that ends the show. But Vampiro's getting involved.
Yeah, which I'm fine with. The ending part I think is just really neat because obviously if you've watched any of Vampiro stuff, there's a lot of not niceness under commentator man. So that'll be interesting to see how they work all this back in. I think I'm still not a giant fan of this Pentagon Junior Sexy Star stuff, just because it's sort of it's like dancing a circle around what they originally had planned for both. Because I don't think Pentagon Junior is where he should be since the loss of Sexy, and I don't know if this does him any favors by having Superfly interfere, but they're trying to move him on to feud, so I guess it's understandable. But I don't know if that makes it okay, you know?
Yeah, because the crowd was really into Pentagon still.
Right.
You know. Gary?
You know, I mean, to me, I wish Pentagon was on a better path than this. And nothing over against Sexy Star. Not at all. I mean, I think she's fine and everything. She does a great job. But I just think that I want to see more of Pentagon getting to that level of pleasing whoever he's pleasing, the god or whatever. Maybe that's what this is heading. Maybe this is actually a pathway to finding out that Vampiro is actually that god. You know what I mean?
Crazy if it was.
Maybe it's Vampiro is kind of kept it secret, and now we're finally going to get it revealed. We all think right now that they're at odds, but we may find out they're together on this whole deal. So I don't know. It's got a lot of food for thought there. So, but not a bad way to end the show.
All right, that's Lucha Underground.
Yep. So, guys, we have one more show now. Earlier, I kind of false started and said one, but we had two. Now we really do only have one, and that is TNA Impact. So we will be right back with that.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
All right, TNA Impact Wrestling. Man, you guys missed the wrong day to miss at least the opening of Impact Wrestling, because a freaking barbershop quartet freaking sang EC3's theme song as he made his way to the ring with a couple of girls and Tyrus.
Well, that's magical.
Yes, it was awesome. I just laughed. My all the way as EC3 went to the ring. It was just great. We get the "You can't wrestle, yes he can" chants, and then EC3's like, "Well, I disagree. I'm very good." His whole thing. So he calls down Kurt Angle. Pope Angelo De Niro is on commentary, by the way. I thought he did a pretty good job. Kurt Angle says this isn't going to be as easy to take as his gold medal. And, pretty much they have a little standoff as eventually EC3 talks about how, well, he's going to make sure that Spud doesn't want to turn in his the X title for the option C. And we get Kurt Angle slamming one of the barbershop guys, and so that's the opening segment. You also get Eric Young versus Lashley, which you can imagine how this went. Pretty even until Chris Melendez comes out, and that happens to help Lashley take down Eric Young, and there you go. What do you think?
As gripping as this opener seems, Lashley and EY just sounds like a bore. And Chris, we still have no reason to care about Chris Melendez other than that he's wounded and has a prosthetic leg and all that. There's no character to him yet, so I don't know what a feud with EY is going to do for him. But hopefully it will build him into something we care about. And I know there's more fun with EC3 to come, so I'll save my praise for him later.
Yeah, EC3 is awesome, and I think we'll all worship him once that time comes. Sorry, the addiction or whatever you're called now. But the fact of the matter is that I feel bad for Christian Melendez. The guy legitimately has overcome a lot, and you give him credit for that, and you give him credit for his service, and we all, still to this day, high praises for the guy, the sacrifices he made. But let's get real, that gets you so far. And I'm yet to see TNA put him in a place to make him look better. I don't know. I know in the business they always say, well, it's your job to make yourself look better. It's not always up to the promoter or the writer or whoever is booking you. But in general, I just don't think they're doing either one a favor. I don't think he's doing himself a favor, and I don't think they're doing him a favor. So I hope it gets better for that guy.
Yeah. We'll have to see. So we get a lot of this show was Rockstar Spud obviously pondering what he's going to do. Austin Aries tries to give him advice and tells him not to, cash in the belt, which would be my thought. I really thought he shouldn't have cashed in the belt either. Jade and Brooke is after this. This was actually good, I thought. Jade missed a moonsault. Brooke got a flying X Factor, which was pretty good. And Jade, or not Jade, Marty actually got involved and put Jade's foot on the rope. So then when Jade tries to do a kick, she hits Marty, and you get a pin, and Brooke wins. And Brooke's like jumping for joy like she just won the Super Bowl or something. And, the EC3 gets interviewed by Jeremy Boras in an awkward manner because, they're not friends at all. And, we also got the Beatdown Clan versus the Rising, which, I don't know, I thought this was fine. It wasn't anything special, I thought. We get the Northern Lights suplex that Drew hits sends Key flying though, which is pretty good. Galloway does get the win, and the Rising win. So, what do you guys think?
Jade, Mia Yim, whatever you want to call her, one hell of a wrestler. Absolutely tremendous. I think Brooke is very good too, and if we're gonna have Kim sort of sit out for a while because of her broken ring finger that the Dollhouse inflicted upon her, I think Brooke is a fun sort of interlude while we get a break from Kim and Taryn. I'm still not much on the Rising and the Beatdown Clan. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's ever really progressing anywhere, and it's not overly exciting either. So I'm ready for Drew Galloway to move on to something else rather than dealing with all of this mess.
Okay.
Just thinking about this whole thing with Beatdown Clan, the Rising, I mean, I'm okay with it, I guess, to an extent. But, I mean, how long does this feud have to last? That's my biggest question. It feels like this is, 107.
It's the two factions. They have to go against each other.
I know, but man...
That's the way TNA works.
Here's the thing, and you guys can just maul me or yell at me or what. I just don't think these factions are very strong for anybody to care about, let alone seeing a long feud with these two. I'm a big fan of MVP. I think MVP is great, but he can only take it so far. I like Drew Galloway, but he can only take it so far. And I just don't know. I'm just not sold on it. Maybe I'm just being an old fuddy-duddy. I just don't care for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the whole. I'm with both of you guys on the whole. It doesn't seem like it progresses. It seems like they're just having matches. It seems like they're just having promos. It's all the same stuff. Nothing is ever... There's no story being told. There's just these guys. They don't like each other, and it's okay, what is going on? Because they're obviously not controlling things anymore. The BDC have no control over anything. So you guys are just, I guess, trying to put each other out, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just waiting for them to show up with the Aces and Eights jackets.
Oh, let's not do that again. Let's just not. I think after this, we have... okay, so this is a contentious thing for the show in that there's a storyline, this whole storyline with James Storm and Magnus and Mickey James. And, James Storm is meeting Mickey James. It's in black and white for some reason. And, they're talking to each other in Nashville. Apparently it's because Mickey's, supposed to be meeting with some kind of country exec or something. And, James Storm tells Mickey all about how great she is and all this stuff. And, he holds her hands and all, and then Mickey starts suspecting, oh, James Storm actually asked her to be in the Revolution, because the Revolution only exists so that he can use the Revolution as a plot device for, instead of saying you can be with me, you can be in the Revolution, so it doesn't kind of sound like you're just saying something else. So instead, Mickey basically catches on and is like, whoa, hey, I'm good with Magnus. That's a man. I love him. All this stuff, and then, so James Storms, kind of acts like it's okay. He gives her a hug, and then later on, they're over there by the train tracks, and they're talking, and then James Storm just basically nudges Mickey off the ledge, and she takes a fall. And James Storm basically utters the whole, well, if you're not going to be in my Revolution, you're not going to be with nobody, pretty much. Now, TNA has said that all she has is a concussion, even though that looked like a pretty deep fall there. But whatever, it's wrestling. It is what it is. What do you guys think about the whole, a man pushing a woman down a cliff, basically?
Yeah, I was about to say, Storm, I've seen the video, the security footage thing, and Storm makes it seem like she fell off the end of a building almost. Yeah. So I assumed that there was going to be a lot worse, but it's, I guess, not as serious as the video makes it all seem. Either way, Storm comes off as a giant dick in this, and we finally have that turn that, Magnus, of course, while he's still been a dick the whole time, is right that he shouldn't have trusted Storm, and now Storm shows what a dick he is. And it's fine storytelling, I think. I don't know. I feel like you should be clear about what's happening to Mickey. If you're just pushing her off something that's a little shorter, maybe you don't go with the security camera shot this go around.
Yeah, that makes complete sense, because honestly, if it's supposedly a deep fall, if it's supposed to be, from a long ways, you're not just going to get the concussion, you're going to break bones. And that's the reality of this. And I've heard Stone Cold Steve Austin, I've heard Jim Ross talk about this plenty of times. I mean, that's the bad thing sometimes in these. It's corny because it's not realistic. Now, they should have showed her coming back, or in the news, okay, she broke her arm, she, fractured a bone in her leg, things like that to kind of get people, oh my God, that was a pitfall, that was terrible. So I don't know, it's just nitpicking maybe, but on the other hand, I mean, you've got to do this thing to get people to be invested.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's fine. It's you get the turn from James Storm. People will make a big deal about the whole, oh man knocked the woman off the ledge and oh my God and whatever. It's a plot device. Just let it be. So we get more stuff with Rockstar Spud, and I forgot what Kurt Angle comes out and he's trying to get Spud to. This is all, I don't remember a lot of this. Eventually, this just leads to Rockstar Spud basically says, okay, I'm handing him my title, I'm going to take the world title shot. And EC3 tries to offer him a job for life with EC3, basically being what he was for Dixie. And, Rockstar Spud brings up a point that he loved Dixie, he loved doing all the stuff for her and Ethan, but he's not doing it. And so, yeah. And so that's set there. And we get also later at the end of the show, pretty much, Austin Aries said he's cashing in. And next week on Destination America, not only are we getting Rockstar Spud against Kurt Angle for the title, we're getting Austin Aries against the winner.
Kurt Angle.
Kenny, yeah. Kurt Angle.
Yeah, Kurt Angle. Come on.
Yeah, right? I mean, it would be a total TNA move for Rockstar Spud to win. But.
I would love it, actually, personally. I'm a Rockstar Spud guy. So.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything ever happens to TNA, I will definitely be heading over to whatever local promotion it'll have him,
Yeah, you're also going to get Kenny King Grado's coming back, Jonathan Cruz in a triple threat. I think it's because they're starting the whole we're going to crown a new ex-champion or whatever. And then Taryn Terrell against Awesome Kong as well, which Taryn does a really awesome, like, I'm dressed really skanky, but I'm going to be angry Taryn because I'm in my dollhouse and I'm going to show Awesome Kong that I'm better than her and all this stuff. It's really well done, I thought. We also have a really good freaking, a great even tag match for the third best of 5 out of match 3 of the for the tag titles. We have Bobby Roode sort of turn heel here. He hits at first. He makes it seem like, oh, I can't do it. I can't hit him with the chair. But then Aries distracts the ref again, and Bobby Roode freaking hits. I don't know. I think it was Eddie with a low blow, and then a nasty chair shot at the back, and the Dirty Heels win. What do you think?
Dirty Heels, love them. Love the tag series. It's proven to be very good. The matches are great, like we all suspected they would be. So that's definitely a bonus. The Kurt Angle or the the Spud cashing in angle sounds very entertaining, even though Spud is a complete idiot for cashing in, clearly. And I totally see Austin Aries' point. I think EC3 just shines throughout the whole show, top to bottom.
Gary?
You know what? Looking at this whole thing, I'm trying to think what I was going to say now. Oh, man, it totally lost me. Where were we at?
The tag title.
Tag titles. Okay, I was. The last thought was about the Taryn Terrell and Awesome Kong thing, and I was going to say something about that, but that'll be interesting. The tag titles, I think it's great. I'm a big fan of the Dirty Heels as well. I know Paul just said he was. I think this is good. They're getting a chance to kind of showcase that exactly what they are. And not only that, I mean, I think the way they booked this is really smart because, it was one win away for the Wolves, one win, and then here they go the Dirty Heel. So I think it's good,
Agreed. So the ending is there's something else we have to mention here because TNA runs the same angle as, never mind, this is taped long before, so I just thought I'd make this joke of TNA runs the same angle that WWE did last week with the whole arresting someone. Madison Rayne comes out because she's upset that Velvet's guy and everybody else but her are getting shots at the Knockouts title and all this stuff, and Velvet, who doesn't even work here, is getting more TV time than her, all valid reasons. So Velvet starts walking, he invites her to the ring. Velvet's wearing weird different colored highlights in her hair, and she has a denim vest on with a skirt. And I'm saying this because it makes sense to what's going to happen here. Madison Rayne slaps Velvet eventually because she gets tired of Velvet trying to be quiet, not say anything, and then Velvet does a spear and then stun her. I'm not joking. She stuns Madison Rayne. Then Angelina Love comes out and does the whole, Velvet's not employed by the company. She just hit a wrestler. She needs to be arrested. And then Velvet attacks all the guards, trying to keep herself from getting arrested. The handcuffs come out, and Angelina Love hits Velvet. So then the security comes back out and says that Angelina Love hit a fan. So both of them are arrested. So there you go. There's your segment.
Just not a gripping bunch of television here. I'm not really at all into what's happening here. And it sucks, because I used to be a big fan of the Beautiful People, and just None of this really grabs me at all, you know?
What about Stone Cold Velvet?
Yeah, nothing.
It's the truth, though. I mean, Paul is not wrong on this, and Angelina Love, not a bad heel. I think she does a pretty decent job at it, but Velvet, I mean, I'm not buying the whole, using the stunner and all that. I mean, that just kind of weirds me out, to be honest with you. I just don't know where she gets to, I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for me, but, I guess this isn't terrible. It's just not my favorite thing.
No, yeah. And the ending is a tag match between Kurt Angle and Rockstar Spud against EC3 and Tyrus. I thought this was good. Not anything spectacular. Kurt Angle hits the Angle Slam on Tyrus, and then Rockstar Spud gets the pin. And I already talked about the ending, pretty much, so... yeah.
More EC3 is good.
That's never wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, predictable ending. Not a problem. It's what it is. So, but anyway, I guess
this is better than Raw, though. Not saying much, but
yeah. Setting the bar low there, Sean.
Yeah. So, I'll have to see if next week, maybe if we get a repeat performance and you still feel the same way next week, Sean, we may have something here. So.
Sadly, I feel like we are, because we're just going to have a bunch of, these guys were in that Money in the Bank match, have to wrestle each other matches.
It could be true. Very well so. So, all right, guys. Well, it is time for us to move on, and we are done with all the shows. It is time for us now to crown a Superstar of the Week, so we'll be right back with that.
Superstar of the Week.
All right, Paul, who do you got on your list this week?
All right, so number 5 goes to Jack Evans for the impressive performance he put on Lucha Underground this week. 4 goes to Roman Reigns, who, despite maybe not having the most exciting episode of Raw behind him, I think everything that they did for him this week made a lot of sense. And there is something to be said about that, because that doesn't always happen with WWE booking. 3 goes to Silas Young, mostly just because I liked him. Not to mention, not too terrible of a match with Mr. Watanabe this week on ROH TV. 2, EC3, wonderful week on TNA. And my number 1 this week goes to the Dirty Heels. Great wrestling. Austin Aries and Bobby Roode just healing it up whenever they can and not giving a shit. That's awesome.
There you go. Sean?
Number 5, dang, where am I going to go with this? I'll come back to me.
Okay, my list is kind of different than his and Paul's, and it's just kind of funny. Number 5 has to go to Kushida. I was just nice seeing him. I really enjoyed that match with him. Jack Evans is my number 4. Great job by him. I'm still getting a chance to know who he is, and I'm really enjoying it. 3 goes to EC3. I just love EC3. My number 2 is actually Dirty Heels, so that's close, but not quite. My number 1 still goes to Roman Reigns, just because he had to do a lot on Raw. Wasn't the best Raw, but at least he did, to me personally, more personality, more believable personality, so he's got to get my number 1 this week.
Alright, my number 5 will be Jack Evans. Number 4, Silas Young. 3, your Lucha Underground Trios champions. They did defend their titles, albeit not in the greatest of matches, which is weird for Lucha Underground, because normally we're talking about how great their matches are, at least. Number 2, Kevin Owens once again. And no, you know what? Number 2, Roman Reigns, because he was the focal point of Raw. And number 1 is still Kevin Owens, because he still delivered an awesome promo, and it wasn't a great segment, but he wasn't the part of the problem with the segment. So.
Okay, fair enough. Well, with the process of elimination, with us all having different people, different places. It looks like Roman Reigns with a number one vote and a number two vote. I think he has to take home the trophy of Superstar of the Week. Good job for him. I'm glad to see that he is, doing better. Hopefully he keeps that stuff up. So, anyway, guys, well, man, we've had a long, great show. I mean, I've really, really enjoyed it. We had some great guests on today. Thanks for Christopher Hill for calling in and joining us for quite a few segments. And definitely thank you for James Fonte for calling in as well. We love hearing from them. It's been way, way too long since we've heard from Fonte. But he's always on our Facebook page. And talking about our Facebook page, make sure you go on there. If you're not a part of our Facebook page, join it. It's a great group. You've got a lot of people on there who love to talk wrestling. They're always there on a Monday Night Raw thread. They sometimes will jump on a pay-per-view thread. You'll have, sometimes you'll have even threads for NXT and all the other shows that we cover. So go check it out. It's got lots of news, lots of fun discussions, and just great people. Plus, of course, we want you to make sure that you don't forget to rate and review this show. Next week, we are going to jump into a great, awesome preview for Money in the Bank. I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys are looking forward to Money in the Bank, so we'll be covering that, kind of giving you our predictions on what's going to happen. And, of course, later that week, we'll be doing a roundtable for that on 411mania.com. Plus, guys, don't forget, we'll have some other stuff coming up for you. But, Sean, I'm going to let you talk about Sunday and, of course, the rest of the plugs.
All right, well, Sunday, Paul and I, Gary may or may not, well, hopefully Gary's here. But we're going to be doing, it's the Best Super Juniors final is on Sunday. It's the last show of the whole thing. We'll be doing basically a special for that on Sunday night. The show does air on Sunday morning, so if you have New Japan World, or you can watch it when they put it on after it's live, or you can wait, to watch it a little bit later and then listen to us talk about it. The only reason we're doing it on Sunday is because by the time you get to Thursday, it's like really old, and then it's just, you have to wonder if people are really going to care about listening to it by then. So might as well just give it its own little spot. And just because it airs in the morning and not at night doesn't make it that it's still not important, because it very much is. And yeah, we are on, if you're listening through various other places, I mean, God, now we're on VOC Nation. So, so we're on plenty of places now that you can listen to us. If you're listening to us on one of the websites and you don't want to be sitting there waiting in your browser, we are on iTunes, we are on Stitcher, we are on TuneIn Radio, we are on Player FM Blueberry, on the Spreaker app that you can download. You can find us there, as well as all the other podcasts that we do. On VOC Nation, you can go to iTunes and look for VOC Nation. We are there, along with all the other podcasts eventually. Then we are also on if you go to the Podbean app, which the app I think is only available on iTunes right now, not on Android, go search Last Word Radio, and we are also there. And so is the sports podcast, the Football to Football, which Gary and I just did with Randy, and we had a guest. I'm not going to try to say his name again. I got too lucky saying it too many times. Well, the first time. We talked about, we did a preview for Copa America, which starts next week, basically. Women's World Cup, which starts on Saturday. We also talked a lot about the NFL news, Cam Newton getting a contract, and Adrian Peterson finally deciding to play football again, thank God, so we can stop talking about him doing other things. And then, we got the Co-op Multi, which we had a show on Wednesday night, and it's gonna be a usual Tuesday night show now. So we're gonna do our E3 predictions on Tuesday night, and then, like I said, E3, we're gonna be all over that, having reaction podcasts for all the E3 conferences. So that's gonna be fun. And so wherever you're listening to us, Go on iTunes, even if it's on the VOC iTunes, if it's on the Last Word Radio iTunes, if it's on our iTunes through Spreaker, go rate and review us. Go rate and review us on Stitcher. That helps us a lot, so we can be seen by more people, so that you can get more people in that Facebook group, so we can have more followers on Twitter, so that we can just be speaking to more people and be seen by more people, and who knows, where you can go from there.
That's right. So we really appreciate you listening to us, and we hope you had a wonderful time. We'll be joining us next week, hopefully, and that'll be Thursday. Don't forget, this is a new time slot for us. We're not on Tuesdays anymore. We are on Thursday nights, Friday mornings, and, of course, if you're listening on demand, Friday is the day you can download us and catch us out. And we are so excited about having you guys come back and listen for more. But always remember, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
Later.